Emma's second leg.
Punished to the highest degree. Well, to win it in style, to win it brilliantly. And to top the group, Sam Spivey is unassailable. A group by the Jammy Dodger. Such a good double. Oh, that's immaculate from Derek Coulson. Good evening and welcome along to the penultimate finals night of Season 9 here at the Modus Super Season. We have two players who won this week in previous series before, locking horns this evening. It should be a bumper night full of arrows and an evening which will present an opportunity for one to make it through to Champions Week. Alongside me here, Laura Turner and Matthew Edgar. Matt's been watching every single dart this week. Laura's going to join us to see how this week concludes. We've got 6 fantastic players in action this evening, and this is how they got here. Andy Davidson won on his debut 2 series ago. That was also in a week 11. Is that an omen for tonight? Jim Long was the main man in Group B. He was the main protagonist. He dropped a couple of games, but a perfect first night saw him through. He's looking for his second consecutive Champions Week appearance. James Wilson, the jammy dodger, in just his second appearance here at the Super Series. It was Group B this time, after in his previous appearance, he went through the card both times in Group C. DC, Derek Coulson, it's been a comically good week for him. He won in his previous appearance here, and he, just like his fellow senior slinger Jim Long, is looking for back-to-back Champions Week appearances. The revelation, Sam Spivey from Scarborough in Yorkshire. He is dazzled, he is delighted all week long, and he's looking for the biggest night of his darting life this evening. Johnny Haynes has also won a week 11. That was in Series 2. Can he do so 7 series later? We're about to find out. You get the sense that tonight's finals is a finals night littered with opportunities. You've got 2 senior stars in Jim Long and Derek Coulson going toe-to-toe. Sam Spivey on David. Andy Davidson improving with every single appearance here. Matt and Laura are alongside me. And Laura, first of all, this feels like a finals night where an opportunity is there to be had. You've got 6 players that maybe on paper, in terms of the way they played this week, are evenly matched.
Yeah, I do agree. And I think, as I say, it is that real opportunity. But they have, most of the field have had, winning experiences here themselves. So, they're going to want to do that again. They're going to want to make the way through to Champions Week. But as you say, it feels very open at the moment.
I mean this with the greatest respect to the 6 players that are in the field. You've got some really good names, but maybe this is a finals night that's lacking some of what you'd say like the major Super Series names. I know Jim Long's had a really good year in 2024, but everyone will probably look at that room tonight and think, I've got as much chance as everybody else.
I think you took my thoughts out of my mind there, actually, Henry. James Wilson's obviously the player who's achieved the most in this game. He's been in the world's top 32 in the PDC rankings. He's been the BDO number 1. He won that world trophy. Now, he's probably the player who's got the most glittering CV of them all. But actually what we've got here is a group of players who, this is a big night for them. Winning here at the Super Series, this isn't like a stepping stone for these guys. This isn't them coming off tour and trying to find some form before they go back on it again, like we see with people before, such as a John Henderson. This is people that this is a big night for. Take a look at the people like Sam Spivey. He didn't even expect to be here on a Saturday night. And the reason, and what we do get now, should I say, is excitement. I've been down there, I've been down to the players' room, and they are all buzzing. They sense the opportunity, and they really are excited for the evening ahead.
Well, let's tell you the story as to how we got to this point on Saturday evening. Group A got us underway on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. It was Andy Davidson that won it in the end, 22 points to his name. We speak so often, Laura, about trying to find a good B game, trying to carve out wins when you're not playing at your best. That was exactly what Andy did on Monday. He took a lead going into day 2 and he never really relinquished it since.
Yeah, and he's another one of those players, that he seems to be improving time and time again when he's coming back. We were out in Malta for one of the WGF tournaments. He picked up a title there as well. He is fast becoming one of those dangerous players to look out. And I do think out of the whole field, he's going to sense that this is the biggest opportunity for him tonight.
And then we divvied up the players into groups B and C later on in the week. Group C was the group which had the most drama littered to it. Not for Sam Spivey. He made it look fairly routine, 18 points to his name. But everything further down, Matt, was not the case whatsoever.
Darren Johnson finishing bottom of the table. He'll be very disappointed with that, as he was coming here in preparation for his Lakeside campaign, his attempt to be the WWF World Champion. Conor Heenahan has never missed out on getting through to a Saturday night before, and he did so this time. Dramatic style. He wasn't working for him. He missed out Group A. It was a poor performance. We can't sugarcoat it in any way. And then just couldn't hold it together to get through that Group C.
That last game in that Group C yesterday had drama written all over it. Conor Heenahan missing 8 darts to progress through. I can imagine this evening and probably last night, he must have been feeling sick.
Yeah, absolutely. Just as Matt's just said there, when you craft out an opportunity, when you have that in your grasp, and that's where you want to be. You want to be in control of what's happening. Conor had that. 8 mismatched darts. It's just, at that level, and from what we've seen from it before, it's just not what we were expecting. And yet he'll be kind of sat at home absolutely kicking himself, I'm sure. As
a player, does it feel worse when you've had an opportunity and you've blown it, as opposed to it being a case of somebody who was just better than you over a given day?
100%. I can't say it any better than that, because you work really hard to get those chances, and then when you have them, if you can't hold it together enough to actually take it, it hurts a lot more than just being absolutely swept aside.
But Sam Spivey had no issues whatsoever. He was absolutely superb. The first day ran through the card and didn't look like he was going to be beaten, and day 2 did the job he needed to do.
Composure. That was the word I've used all week to describe Sam Spivey. Can he hold it together tonight? I've seen no evidence on what we've seen here at the Super Series, and looking into the numbers and looking into his records, that supports it as well. You picked out a great stat earlier in the week that he plays a lot better when he plays against the bigger players. Well, this is the big occasion, and he sat up here at the end of his Group C campaign and said he does get into the mode of playing the player. Well, can he now play the occasion? If he does, he may step it up again.
He said the only thing about his experience so far, he hasn't enjoyed the interviews, but I don't think he's the only one that's ever said that here at the Live Lounge. Into Group B, that was what we were watching in the evening sessions on Thursday and Friday respectively. And for Jim Long, I suppose kind of similar to Sam Spivey in Group C, he absolutely dominated proceedings. We were mentioning earlier on, he's had such a golden year, went on that run to the semi-finals of the World Seniors Championship at the Circus Tavern. He's playing really well on the Seniors Tour, won in the previous series. He's the type of player that's having success and really growing in confidence and building a lot of momentum this year.
Yeah, and he's another one, isn't he? He's dangerous. He knows what it's like to go up there, to step up on a Saturday night. He knows how to win. But you back that up, as you mentioned, with the kind of, the season that he's having. Yeah, there's another one. I think they're all going to look at everyone else in this field and just sense that there's a real opportunity to pick up a title tonight.
James Wilson hasn't played much darts this year. More of the reasons to it in a few seconds' time. We spoke to him earlier on this evening. The fact that he hasn't played for a number of months and he's come straight back in and played to the level that he has, how much does that say about A, his natural ability, and B, just him as a person?
Natural ability is something I'd want to see a little bit more from James Wilson tonight. We picked up on commentary, when he plays with a little bit more freedom and fluency, he was playing significantly better. And he can just at times get a little bit deliberate, trying to make sure. And I think the way it started for him, losing his first 3 games, he maybe just felt, it can't get any worse. I'm just going to play with a bit of freedom and just let them go and throw the darts, which sounds like the most simplest advice, but you literally need to make sure that you are propelling and releasing that dart rather than holding on to it for that little bit too long, where you're just trying to place it into the board. That's where James was at the start of this campaign. And then he started to pick up the pace. He started to throw with a bit of freedom. He played some amazing darts at times. Really did look like a player who's been where he has been in the game, the top 32 in the world. So I'd like to see James play with that little bit of freedom tonight, but where does he believe this is? Is this an achievement to be back here at this point? Did he expect to be here at this point, as he's probably trying to rebuild now for ultimately maybe another attack at Q School?
In terms of Derek Coulson, he saved his best for last, averaging in excess of 108 against Chaz Barter. Interestingly, he thought he was out. So maybe that was a blessing in disguise, because it allowed him to play with a bit of freedom in this contest.
If that's what he does with a bit of freedom, I want to see more of it, because it was an exceptional performance, as you say. But yeah, obviously not out, and another one firmly in the running. And, just look at the stats. I kind of feel for Chaz as well, because he produced some outstanding darts himself yesterday. Kind of another group that kind of came right down to the end. And he missed out, finds himself bottom. So he'll be really disappointed. But it's another chance here for Derek.
So that is how we got to this point on Saturday. The to the group groups that are going to be in play for it. Group 1, Andy Davidson, James Wilson, Johnny Haynes. Group 2, Jim Long, Sam Spivey and Derek Coulson. Does it feel like, Matt, the strength in depth maybe is just slightly more in Group 2 compared to Group 1?
Yep, I think I would have gone with the same analysis there. Johnny Haynes, we don't know what we're going to get from him. He's another player who thought he was out. Probably very fortunate to be here now. He won half of his games. Which way do you look at that? Do you go, I won half my games, or do you go, I lost half of them, I'm really lucky? It depends which side of the coin you flips it at. Either way, he's probably on a bit of a free roll tonight, but he's in that group there with the guy I thought was the favourite at the start of the week.
Well, let's have a look at the odds and see what the bookies think about tonight's proceedings. They go with Jim Long as the 11-4 favourite to go on and win it. And interesting, they got Derek Coulson at 11-2, fifth favourite. In terms of the odds law, I'm going to put two questions into one here. Firstly, is Jim Long the rightful favourite? And is there anybody in that betting that you think could well spring a surprise and maybe their numbers are not representative?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Andy Davison at 7-2, and as you just mentioned there, Derek Coulson, I think there's possibly some value there because they know what it takes to actually win one of these nights. I can understand why Jim's at the top. You know, he's been a very strong performer throughout the week, and obviously, as we've mentioned before, you know, season's been very good. But I think perhaps there's a couple there that, like I say, may have a bit more value.
Well, guys, thank you very much for now. We'll hear from you as the evening goes along. Our first game of the evening session sees Andy Davidson take on Johnny Haynes. Both of these players have won Week 11s in the past. Andy Davidson doing so 2 series ago. He beat Aidan Cook in a dramatic final 4-3. Both players missing a plethora of match starts. Johnny Haynes did so 7 series ago. And if he does so, then he'll join John Henderson on a tie for biggest gap between first and second wins here at the Modus Super Series. And earlier on this evening, I caught up with both players. Johnny, really dramatic afternoon yesterday. First of all, what was it like from your perspective?
I thought I was out because I looked at the screen. I thought Tavis was on no legs, and I thought whoever won the game went through.
So what happened there? Because I hear a rumour that you went home, didn't you? You went out the building.
I went to I went to catch a train. I had an hour and a half to wait if I missed that one, and I got to the station and I thought, oh, we'll have a look at the results. And Connor had just missed a 78. And I thought, oh, and then they said if Tavis won, I'll go through. And I thought, oh, I didn't realise that.
So the first you realised of it was when you were getting ready to go home and leave the tournament altogether, when you were actually heading back home?
Well, back to Romsey I was going. Yeah, that's the first I knew.
So going into tonight, does that change the mindset and the mentality a little bit? Because you didn't think you were going to be here this evening. Does it give you the opportunity to play with a bit of a free roll? Yeah,
it does, big time. Yeah, because I said I didn't expect to be here, and now I am. I'll have a go for it.
I don't know what you're like with symmetry, but your previous weekly win was in a Week 11. That was in Series 2. This is a Week 11 in Series 9. Do you believe in omens like that?
No. No. If I'm good enough on the night, I will win it. If they go like I can play. But this week they've been up and down.
Well, I wish you all the very best this evening. Johnny, good luck.
Cheers, Henry. Ta.
Andy, really good Group A for yourself. It felt like once you got the lead of the group, you never really relinquished it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I say, I got better as the week went on. I still don't feel it was my peak, but yeah, it was nice to have 2 days off and hopefully a nice reset and we're coming tonight flying.
How important was that Monday? You didn't play at your best, but you managed to get enough points on the board to keep yourself interested, the 8 points.
Well, that's it, essentially. It's just getting results at the end of the day. Averages don't mean anything. There's no averages on trophies at the end of the day or on the actual match itself. So, yeah, whilst it wasn't my best, it was just good to pick up the wins and fingers crossed we get a few more tonight.
Back into a final, so does this feel more like experienced territory for you now, as if you kind of know what it's all about now?
Well, I certainly know what it's all about, but I'm still gaining experience all the time in terms of playing in front of a crowd and the cameras and all that. So I'm just going to try my best and enjoy it as I always do.
A lot of people have put expectation on your shoulders, the bookmakers, pundits, fans alike. But where would you say you're at in terms of your development at this present moment in time?
I've still got no expectations, really. I mean, I know you're right in what you say that, you know, like yourself and the bookies expect me to maybe potentially go and win this tonight. But at the end of the day, you know, I'll just try my best. And if they go well, great. If they don't, it's not the end of the world, really. So I'll just stick in and hopefully they go well. What
would winning tonight mean? Because it puts you in another bracket, doesn't it, winning 2 of these?
I think so, yeah. Well, it's the fact that since my debut, when I won on my debut and then that I've gone and picked up 2 WDF events as well. And if I was to go and win this again, I think that maybe tells myself that I'm maybe not the one-hit wonder that we potentially thought I could have been when I won Series 7. So that would maybe confirm to me that maybe I'm here to stay.
We wish you all the very best, Andy. Good luck.
Cheers, Henry.
Oh, it doesn't matter what he does. If Andy Davidson does things like that.
Round off a near immaculate display. The bullseye. Tough finish in style.
Well, this is Scott against the Scott, and this Scott is doing remarkable things.
Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. 164 goes.
Well, these two have previously won Week 11s in a series. Johnny Haynes doing so all the way back in Series 2. Andy Davidson doing so a couple of series ago, and both have had their moments so far this week. Johnny Haynes had a decent Group A campaign, but was unable to yield it in terms of making it through to Group B. But he managed to get out of Group C by the skin of his teeth. And he had to do it by relying on Tavis Dudney getting the better of Conor Heenahan. He survived 8 darts at Tavis in that game, and so as a consequence, so did Johnny. But for Andy Davidson, as soon as he got the lead of Group A, he never relinquished it. 8 points on his first day, and he was the leader ever since. It's game 1 of our evening session. It's going to be watched in the company of Laura Turner and Matthew Edgar in the commentary box.
Thank you, Henry. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one, isn't it? And certainly when we look at the qualification routes in which the players have took to get here, Andy Davidson was the first name in Saturday night going through his Group A campaign. Hit the top of the table and never let it go. Johnny Haynes relied on other people to get him here. He only won half his games in a Group C. A very rare feat to see a player here after just 10
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
points
First
on the
leg,
table.
Andy did through first. Game on.
That is Paul Hinks. He's going to be your referee throughout the evening. And it's going to be Andy Davidson that kickstarts proceedings. A player
100.
who says he doesn't want to be a one-hit wonder. He's certainly not going to be that because he's won a couple of events that we've both been a part of, Laura. Wales for me, and you was in
98.
Malta with him yourself.
Yeah, I do agree. I don't think he is that kind of one-hit wonder. He's,
57.
one of those players I think that just seems to be improving each time we see him, and I do think he's in with a real good shout tonight. But as Johnny Haynes mentioned in his interview with Henry,
134.
again another player that if it's all on the night, and if it goes his way, if he plays to the standards that we've seen Johnny play
28.
over the years, he's a danger to anyone.
You're a bit more local to Johnny Haynes, aren't you? So you'll probably be able to paint the picture a bit better than I have this week. But Johnny
59.
Haynes, one of those players that played more traditionally on the local circuit, around the clubs, pubs, picking up the 300, 500
96.
pounds. He was sort of the cash man, wasn't he, for quite a while?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he would travel. We run tournaments over here, and we've had Johnny attend on a regular basis. So he's just one of those players that probably akin to someone like a Simon Whitlock, who just absolutely loves darts and will
100.
travel and will go to all these
Johnny
smaller
O'Connor,
tournaments
70.
just for the pleasure of playing. And as you mentioned, has had a lot of success.
Tops here for a bit of success and an early break.
Game shot in the first leg. Johnny Haynes.
Didn't think he'd be here, but he's 1-0 up on a man who a
Second
lot of
leg,
people
Johnny
think's
does
the
move
favourite
first.
tonight, Andy
Game on.
Davidson. And he losing his throw at the earliest possibility. And there's a lot of players, isn't there, of that ilk. One of them, local to me, James
140.
Richardson, who has qualified for the ADC Global Championship this afternoon. Doing that at Stoke in the
85.
seniors qualifier. That event starting in just a couple of weeks' time. This is week 11 here at the
41.
Super Series. One of only 2 weeks left. 2 more opportunities to get into the final Champions Week of 2024. One thing we've seen in the past is players that win late in a series tend to do well at Champions Week.
100.
Yeah, I do think there is that slight advantage. Your win is just that much more recent. You can,
99.
you've got very, very fond and very recent memories of having a success here. So I think that is something that can be carried forward into Champions Week.
Really changes how you view things as well, doesn't it, when you've picked up a title?
80.
It looks like feeling like he was out has changed the view of Johnny Haynes.
96.
This
Johnny
is a
O'Connor,
performance
40.
on Johnny like we haven't seen yet this week. A flying start for
Getting
the
shot on
punk.
the second leg,
13
Johnny
darter
Haynes.
there to back up the break. of Andy Davidson. He's averaging 107 in the early parts of this game.
Game on. $180.
Fighting fire with fire is Andy Davidson.
Yeah, but how often do we say it's such a short race to 4? And Johnny Haynes has probably come out knowing that
45.
he's going to have his hands full here with Andy Davidson. They have met a couple of times in Group A, and it was 2-1 in favour of Johnny Haynes.
60.
Well, that is 3 well-thrown darts, and had he not been 2-0 up, he'd have probably found that a little bit frustrating.
100.
But Johnny's already done the damage here. He's got the breaker throw he'd need from Andy Davidson, so anything from here is just a bonus. The pressure is fully here on Andy Davidson.
135.
Big shot that doesn't leave a finish. Advantage still in the hands. Still 6 darts for Andy.
85.
Andy there trying to force a route through to the treble 20 and just had a bit of a deflection into the 5, but as you say, still had advantage here, Andy Davidson.
91. $59. Johnny O'Carr,
And
68.
the aggressive route got a dart of the double, the dart of choice. The double 16 gets it on the wire. Oh, it might just be the ball now for Johnny Haynes.
Getting shot in the third leg, Johnny Haynes.
Yeah, so far, Johnny Haynes, give him a look at a
Forward,
double,
Johnny
and it's
to
been
throw
absolutely
first.
perfection from him.
Game on.
3 from 3 on the outer ring, still averaging in excess of 100, just under 105.
96.
And the one thing at this point, Andy Davidson really does need to try and avoid, if he is going to lose the match, you do not want to be losing these round-robin matches.
85.
4-0, we don't want big margins.
That's the danger here right now. Johnny Haynes got the throw to serve it out and give him exactly that.
180.
What a performance this is from Johnny Haynes. Average goes up to 108.92.
140.
It's not that Andy Davidson has played bad here. He's just ran into absolute vintage Johnny Haynes. Andy Davidson said in his interview,
95.
doesn't he? Averages don't always win the games, but sometimes they tell a story. And the story here is Johnny Haynes
60. Johnny O'Carr,
has turned up for the
130.
title.
$58.
He's got time, he'll be back. Johnny Haynes is hunting down a 4-0 win over
96.
Andy
Johnny
Davidson.
O'Carr, 72.
Leaves him 64. Same equation as before. Maybe a dart of the ball unless he can find the treble. Bullseye for the match.
47.
And a rare
Andy O'Carr,
miss for
120.
Johnny Haynes. And a mini opportunity here for Andy Davidson. He's not going to get a dart at the double.
80.
And Johnny
Johnny
Haynes,
O'Carr, 25.
this is for a comfortable 4-0 victory here.
Double 4, the target, and
Getting
double
shot in the
4
mouth,
is
Johnny
found. And round of applause there from Andy Davidson. Complete respect for Johnny Haynes, who really has come out all guns blazing. Over 100 average there for Johnny Haynes, and congratulatory pat on the back from Paul Hinks as well. And there you see confirmation of the averages, 100 for Johnny Haynes. It was 4 out of 5 on the outer ring as well. Well, coming up next, we've got Jim Long taking on Derek Coulson.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where before the break, Johnny Haynes averaged 100.2, 60 darts to get the better of Andy Davidson by 4 legs. Now, it means that the punk is just 1 leg away from the semi-finals. The Group A winner has been defeated in his opening game of the evening. Match 2 sees 2 players from Group B go toe-to-toe. Jim Long and Derek Coulson are well acquainted to one another here at the Super Series. And, of course, other competitions. They both won Open Series tournaments last weekend. And when these two met at Champions Week in Series A, Derek Coulson averaged in excess of a ton against Jim on both occasions. But what's going to happen on this Saturday night, we're about to find out. And earlier on this evening, I caught up with both players. Derek, a nervous wait yesterday evening, but it's also fair to say that you very much left your very best for the very last.
Yeah, I struggled. I did struggle yesterday, and we had the interview earlier, and I said about doubles, and it just seemed to get worse. But I don't really know what happened. I think I just relaxed, thinking I actually thought it was all over. If I'm honest, I thought, well, just go up and enjoy yourself. Last game of the night, and it just clicked. It was a fantastic game of darts. Chaz played awesome as well, which helped me to keep going. And when I come back in, I was like, I still thought I was out, but yeah, lucky.
You've had some really good performances on the Open Series circuit, but in terms of performances altogether, we've seen you hit 109s on this stage, but how good did that feel, that performance, particularly the first 3 legs?
It felt easy, and if you could bottle that and bring it out next time, but yeah, I felt really good up there, and I felt like I could hit anything I was aiming at, and most of the time it did go in. But Chaz was right behind me, and that 155 could have changed the game, but I kept going, so I was really happy with the way I played in the end.
Into tonight, the fact you thought that you were out, does it give you the opportunity to play with a little bit more freedom?
Yeah, it does. 100%, yeah. I did think I was out. It wasn't until I was told I still had a chance. So coming here tonight is, again, like you say, a bit of freedom. Go up there and try and enjoy myself. That's what I want to do, is just enjoy myself rather than put myself under pressure.
If the first time was one of the greatest things you've done in the sport, what would a second weekly title in back-to-back series mean?
I haven't thought about it again. When we spoke last time, I didn't really want to think about it, and it's the same tonight. I don't really want to think about it. I want to go up there and just enjoy myself. If I play well, great. I'll have a chance. If I play well, I'll have a good chance of getting through, and then, yeah, I'll get excited.
We'll let you focus on the job in hand, Derek. Good luck.
Thank you, Henry.
Jim, really good Group B for yourself. How did you feel it went overall?
I got through it, so it had to go pretty good. I felt like my timing was better after a bit of a slow start in Group A. So, yeah, I was pretty happy with it.
In terms of the week overall, it was a slow start on Monday, but it felt like as the days went along, you really did build into proceedings.
Yeah, like the first 2, I think I was 5% on my doubles in that first match, and then the second one I wasn't much better, and I lost my first 2 games right away, and then Marino made a comeback on me. So that's a tough way to start, but it's the nice thing about this is we have 5 full days to get going, and really today's all that matters in the end.
You must feel in the full swing of things at the minute. You played in Newbury last weekend of the Open Series. 5 days here. You must be feeling like you're getting your full quota of darts at the minute.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to not playing darts tomorrow. Tomorrow and Monday, I won't be playing any darts. I go home on Tuesday is the plan. And I'm sure I'll have a practice when I get home on Tuesday.
And maybe practice on Tuesday ahead of a Champions Week appearance, possibly?
You know what? Yeah, that's trying not to think about it because I don't know what my travel plans will be. So there's a lot to think about there. So I'm just going to wait and see what happens. And then if I have to deal with it, I'll see what happens.
I wish you all the very best of luck, Jim.
Thank you.
Tonight. Another one of them. Double 12. Oh, this is majestic from Jim Long. And it's the tale of a long night in Group B.
For a place at finals night. Jim is playing the long game here at the Modus Super Series.
Luke won his first title here. Well, this could be a 12 on the back of an 11. Double 16. Oh, this is beautiful from Jim Long. Well, it's all Jim Long here on this Saturday night here at the Modus Super Series. But is he going to be having a fiesta on the live lounge stage? His first opponent is Derek Coulson, DC, and he's hoping to write another chapter to his Tungsten fairy tale here at the live lounge in Portsmouth. Two players that played at the last Champions Week, but only one can make it through this evening, if anyone does make it through. It's Long and Coulson. It's game 2 with Laura Turner and Matthew Edgar.
Thank you, Henry. Yeah, I don't think Jim Long's quite planned this one out as well as maybe he thinks. Says he's flying back on Tuesday. Well, Champions Week is just a couple of weeks away now. This week 11. So he may be having a very short stay back home. He's going to do that, though. He's got to go past Derek Coulson, a man who's been playing very, very well the past couple of days. Certainly did grow into it yesterday and saved his best for last. And I think maybe quite an anonymous sign is Derek Coulson said, I thought I was out. I now get to play with a little bit of freedom. That is something we heard in the previous game from Johnny Haynes, who opened the night with a 100 average and a 4-0 success over Andy Davidson.
First leg, Jim to throw first. Game on.
History has a habit of repeating itself. Just wants to enjoy himself, Derek Coulson said in that interview. And you do, don't you, when you get on that stage, you do start thinking of things like the win, which ultimately then you try and make it happen rather than focusing on just doing the thing that got you there in the first place and then the winning becoming a byproduct.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we
we
try and convince ourselves. We say things like, I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to enjoy the experience. But the only way that experience is ever really that enjoyable is if you can win. And if you can play well in the process, even better.
100.
But yeah, I think if that line starts to become a bit closer, I think we'll see less enjoyment and more desire to get your hands on the trophy.
Well, just think in 1 week's time, I'll be enjoying myself.
You tell yourself
100.
that. I've used that. I remember using that exact expression to Aileen de Graaf when we played in the at the Winter Garden. She said, "Why do you English people say that?" She said, "Why do you say this to me?" She said, "Because it's not fun. I can't enjoy myself.
22.
I have to concentrate. I have to focus." So maybe we need to embrace that slightly more.
And ultimately, you think of the prize as well. And the prize tonight is a fair few £1,000. And a ticket to Champions Week, where £25,000 will be on the line. 2 more tickets remaining. Derek Coulson following in the footsteps of Johnny Haynes here. A man who thought he was out, comes out swinging.
You really used that well. Great guide. There's an opening breaker throw, very similar to what we saw Johnny Haynes do over Davidson in that first match. Breaks the throw early.
12 darter there for Derek Coulson to start proceedings. Jim Long's assessment of his game was very similar to the one of my own, which was the timing was good. When he needed the moments, he found them and produced. But on the evidence of what we're seeing from Derek Coulson, he may need a little bit more than timing, because he may not get down to the opportunities. Been here all week, Jim Long said this is his favourite tournament, the Super Series. But I'm sure after 6 days of what has been highly competitive darts, he will be ready for his Sunday.
You do need that slight bit of respite. And I always kind of spare a thought to the person that wins in the very last week before Champions Week, especially if they've travelled quite far. I think I remember Scott Taylor doing it. Maybe the likes of someone like Neil Duff. They have consecutive weeks. Or Robert Thornton.
John Henderson.
John Henderson, yep. And you win in that last week, and then you come back for Champions Week. But then when we do the specials week, some of them are already invited to do the specials week as well. So that's 3 weeks potentially of
99.
Competitive darting action.
We've had a couple of great examples, haven't we? John Henderson with was it the Challenge Tour Q School? Then he came straight here off the back of that, played a week, qualified, played Champions Week.
81.
Neil Duff, a fine example of someone who won a week, then it was Champions Week, then a special. 3 weeks he was in Portsmouth. I would not want to have seen that hotel invoice, because they're not cheap round here.
No. not at all.
140.
Oh, great to see some of the crowd enjoying themselves.
60. Jim Yukar 102.
Well, at least someone's enjoying themselves, eh? Derek Colson, that was his goal, but he might not enjoy this shot.
54. Derek Yukar 146.
Close with no reward for Jim Long. Colson has taken out quite a few big finishers already this week. He's not going to add the 146 on this
59.
occasion.
Jim Yukar 48. Game shot on the second
Good
leg.
adjustment there in the end
Jim
from
Long.
Jim Long. Levels us up at 1 apiece, and it's a break
Third
straight
leg,
back.
Jim to through first.
In the context of this week, they've met a couple of times, and
Game
both have
on.
gone the way of Jim Long. But they also met here at the Modus Super Series back in August. And both of those ones were won by Derek.
With monster averages as well. And you do tend to find,
135.
don't you, as a player, you prefer playing either certain players or certain rhythm, certain pace. And if you're a quick player, you normally like to play a quick player. If you're a more deliberate player like Jim Long and Derek
95.
Colson are, you tend to like to play someone of the similar pace, because when they play a quick player, because they are quite slow in the way they move, they'll just feel like they're on their own up there all the time and just always at the
100.
hockey.
Yeah, absolutely. I find it much more challenging, as you mentioned, to play someone who is more methodical, who does take that bit of extra time, just because I like to kind of get up, throw my darts, take them out.
100.
But you can then get swept up in other people's rhythms, and that's when it becomes very difficult.
Shout out to our friend Craig Brown, Keegan Brown's brother, who has had games registered
95.
over an hour. Best of 7. Was it Sweden where the whole tournament was running like 2 hours late just because
96.
of Craig's, should we say, methodical pace? He's suffered with injury over time, hasn't he? Which does slow the pace down. Hope you're well, Craig.
Yeah, and I think it's very difficult if you are that kind of slower player and you know that,
97.
that you are impacting on the tournament or on the opposition. I don't know if that's always the easiest place to be if you can be true to your own form, but yeah, I've seen some players, they've tried to kind of speed up over time,
60.
one to benefit
Jim
themselves,
Yukar
but also
74.
just so they don't hold everything up.
The search of rhythm and flow.
$54.
That's what Derek Colson was trying to describe, wasn't it?
150.
When he said he just felt everything was going, everything just was going in for him, and it just felt so easy. That's because he had rhythm.
98. Jim Yukar 20.
But he may not have the lead here. Jim Long, 3 darts. For a 2-1 lead. Oh no! He's pulled it low.
No score.
Opportunity now
52.
for Derek Colson.
You can see that disappointment in Long's face, knows that that was a big opportunity, and he's gifted one here to Derek, who can't take it.
32. Jim Yukar 20.
A reprieve for Jim Long. When you make a mistake like that, you feel like you've just let the game go in that moment.
Game shot on the third leg. Jim Long.
Last start in hand as well. Always more painful when you're the person stood at the
Both
back.
legs heading
And
to through first.
in that
Game on.
situation, it wasn't like that was Jim Long's first visit to the board. And you do start to think, and certainly with the dart above the wire, can be a blocker. And when you hear Paul Hinks call it in, it just hurts that little bit more.
140.
Yeah, I've taken to not watching. I look at my feet and just hope that I don't hear any kind of game shot called. But yeah, as you say, when it happens, that last dart, you just
100.
start geeing yourself up for having that other chance, and then you have to reset as the leg resets itself.
$180.
Second maximum of the game there for Derek Colson. Chance for the audience to hoist the 180 cards into the air. We don't get many signs here, do we, where people like doodle up a bit of artwork or some nice comedy valued little comments, do we?
No, I don't know if that's kind of a sensible option sometimes, because I've read some of these comedic messages and they're not always necessarily as appropriate as they should be.
140, Dedica 82.
Maybe that's what we'd like to see more of at the Super Series. Comedy signs. Will we see tops for the 82 finish for another 12 darter for Derek Colson? We absolutely will. Bit all or nothing, isn't it, at the moment for Derek Colson? It's either 12 darts or he loses a leg.
$125.
Yeah, it's just finding that consistency, because we know what's in Derek Coulson's range. Mentioned before, had that massive 108 average.
60.
Just notice there, Derek looks like one of the players, obviously, that uses chalk to help with grip. Where do you stand with that? Because I find that anything on my hands, it actually I makes it feel worse.
140.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it personally. I see why people do it, but I just hate the feeling of chalk. It almost takes my breath a little bit. I'm not a fan.
You see it kind of just chalking up the
91.
20 there as it kind of flies off. Yeah, no, I can't get to grips with that. I've tried a few different things. You get the wax, and there's like a liquid gel that makes your hands slightly stickier. But
140.
yeah, no, don't get on with any of them.
Not the only player in this field tonight who likes a bit of the old chalk on the darts. Johnny Haynes, who played in our opening game, beating Andy Davidson by 4 legs to 0.
140.
He also likes to chalk up the darts, and no surprise to say that both of those are in their senior years. Maybe a bit of an old school thing.
78.
Time on his side. Didn't need to go. Colson way back on the 210, but he's going to leave it handy.
121.
Bit of urgency now for Jim Long.
Yeah, and that last start just felt a bit rushed from Coulson. I think he felt quite comfortable, thought it was going to follow in.
Game shot of the
And
fifth
once
leg.
again, last
Jim
start
Long.
in hand. Jim Long pins double 9.
6 leg Derek to throw first. Game on.
Maybe Jim Long didn't get the memo. Derek Colson's trying to enjoy himself. You don't enjoy yourself when people keep what will feel like just stealing it with a last.
100. $57.
Yeah, not much in terms of the scoreline to
85.
separate them. Obviously, Jim Long just needing the one leg, but average-wise, there's quite a bit of a gulf, and I think that's probably a test to the fact that the 2 legs that Derek Coulson has won have been both won in 12 darts.
I think the other thing to remember here is that we've kind of got the minimum requirement here from both players. Make sure you get a couple of legs on the board and give yourself that real opportunity. Because Andy Davidson, going down 4-0 in his opening game, now is going to need a lot to go
55.
his way. Ideally, what he'll hope is Johnny Haynes goes up and beats James Wilson in our next, which will then give him a straight shootout. But Johnny Haynes only needing 1 leg to qualify.
85. $91.
Yeah, good last there from Coulson. Could be all important.
Good use of the board as well, and good understanding about his darts, because that first one lying down just above the wire made it tricky for him to get into the treble 20.
59. Derek 170.
A target he's going to hope to find with the first 2 darts. Same position as well. It's got to come away to try and find an open
96.
bed.
Jim McCarr 160.
Coulson will have a chance to level it back up at 3 apiece.
60. Derek Carr 74.
Choice of routes. It's going to be a dart at double 10. He had a choice of routes. I don't think that was the one he was intending to go for, but it's one that's worked successfully.
Seventh and final leg, Jim.
So when we talk about those minimum requirements, both players, or the losing player, should we say, has done the maximum they could do here. Get those 3 legs on the board. So not as damaging as a defeat. But right now, that is a thought so
100.
far away for the players. 501 points away from a couple of points.
$100.
Yeah, for Coulson, he's got that kind of throw and angle of entry where if he throws underneath, he can kind of use it as to stack on top. But
100.
if it goes above, it does make it very difficult.
Total opposite angle of entries, isn't it, for the pair? But right now, they're just like 2 boxers throwing jabs.
45.
And this is where, as a player, sometimes in your head, you're like, right, just one more good leg, just one good leg, all of it here.
43.
And I think both of them... Oh, look. You've got a message.
Hayden for England. Said we needed more notes, didn't we? There we go.
They're listening to us down there.
Might have the headphones in. We're with you.
134.
Hayden in England. Not sure I expected it to be on the back of a shopping receipt, though.
That myself. In very faint biro.
16.
Squint to read.
Welcome to the Super Series. It's a good job it weren't like, you know, when they hold them upside down or the wrong way round. And like, so for the sign, we've got 2 pints of milk.
52.
Coulson first to a finish, but Jim Long will be looking to leave something a lot more handy.
100. Derek Carr 170.
Yeah, big moment here for Coulson. There's one. But he can't find the second, so Jim Long now with a match-winning
98.
chance.
Jim McCarr 98.
Long was a little bit unsure. The angular entry a bit deceptive there. He's leaning round, meerkatting at the back of the stage, trying to see what was going on. Needs a treble himself. Doesn't find.
58. Derek Carr 72.
18 darts for Jim Long has not been enough to get the job done, and Derek Coulson now will be expecting at least 1 dart.
$52.
Well, he got 1 dart, but
Jim
it
McCarr,
wasn't enough,
40.
and Long back for tops once again. Match-winning opportunity.
Game shot on the match. Jim Long.
And it is Jim Long that crosses the line, beats Derek Coulson 4 legs to 3. Rather nervy encounter in that last leg, but it's the Canadian that sees himself winning the match. Yeah, there you see the averages, 25% on the outer ring for Jim, but it was enough to beat Derek Coulson 4 legs to 3. And do join us, because coming up next, we've got Johnny Haynes back in action, and he'll be facing James Wilson.
Next year, when that decision needs to be made, he's going to be 49. 1 year shy of the age of the seniors.
A very viable option. 2 players who are around that age. Well, what did he say about the 9?
Will we get the 141? Will the promise come true? Double 12.
Shot and the match.
Steve
West
has won the match with a 9 dart.
But Harrison has kicked off the last leg in perfect style.
It's everything, really. Oh, he's timing this well again.
180.
With a 9-darter, treble 19. Treble 15 leaves double 18. Franchise Harrison to win the game in perfect style.
Hauled himself out of it.
Yeah, it was something that Henry actually said in jest that I was quoted as saying Jared Cole is one of the most, sounds a bit fishy. Glenn, do you know my grandpa Mark Salmon?
Do you? So on a 177 and a 180. He's on a potential 9-darter.
Come on, Jared. Yes, you beauty!
Nice and high, and Fox has now got the game back into his
100
own destination, and wow, the momentum is with him. Here we go.
108.
I wouldn't have said it. Don't jinx it. Yes. Yes! Double 12! Yes! Get in there, Lee Cock!
Well, I think it's fair to say that the blue touch paper has been well and truly lit.
108.
6th max of the match. Oh, hang about. Hang about. It's getting ridiculous now. Can Tommy Leishman give us back-to-back 9-darters in back-to-back games? He could, you know. He could, you know. Goodness gracious me!
Tommy Leishman.
Back-to-back 9-darters! Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where before the break, Jim Long got the better of Derek Coulson in a last leg decider 4-3 to put himself in a very good suit to progress through to the semi-finals a little bit later on this evening. Our third game sees Johnny Haynes back in action. He just needs a solitary leg to make it through to the final four after winning 4-0 in his opening match. He takes on James Wilson, who's making a return to the Super Series stage for the first time since February. Now, there are reasons behind it, and we're going to find out a little bit more about it now, because I caught up with James a little bit earlier on this evening for a catch-up, as we usually do with a player before a Saturday evening finale, where he spoke a little bit more candidly about the reasons why we haven't seen so much of him in recent times. Jay, is it fair to say that that was Group B of two halves this week?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to be fair, I haven't played a game since the last time I were here. So that was my first back playing any game of darts, first day. Found it really tough, some good players, great players. And I knew second day, I had to do something special, which I did.
With that in mind, was there any goals or expectations? Was it just trying to find a decent throw and just try and play well?
Just trying to play well, and trying to get back into the game. And thankfully, I've still got it a little bit, I think.
What were the reasons behind the little bit of a break for yourself?
I had a bit of an heart condition, so I just kind of pulled away from the game, I put myself in a bit of a bubble, really. But, I think I'm all right now. Doctors haven't said I am, but I'm here and I'm happy.
And so I suppose when you have a break like that, for reasons like that, does it, for you, when you come back playing darts, make sure you find the enjoyment side of it?
Yeah, and, this week I've found it again. I'm really enjoying it. I think having that time off for the break, with all the PDC stuff, it's in and out, and you're just playing. And I had that break, and now I've come back. I'm enjoying it.
Mm-hmm. And how much would you enjoy it if you ended your comeback here with a trophy in your hand?
I'd enjoy it a great deal. But, there's some tough guys out there, and I've played a few of them that's still in it. There's some great players here. There really is.
Well, I wish you all the very best, James. Good luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
Another one. It might even be less than 6 or 7 minutes. It might be as little as 2. Because that is a beauty from J-Dub. Double 18 for James. And there's a sign that he's still got it.
Ooh, Mr. Double. Only the one, though.
And the match.
To do something only Richard North has done before. And that's to have the perfect 10.
James Wilson.
James Wilson. Lights, camera, action. Wilson and Haynes, our third game of the session. They're the two in the spotlight. They're the two in the corner. And for Johnny Haynes, he needs just one more leg to make it through to the semi-finals in a few moments' time. And I suppose in the church, it's only right for we talk about whether some will keep or lose their religion, but they'll all be praying that they're the ones that lift the trophy come 10 o'clock this evening. In the commentary box, Laura Turner and Matthew Edgar.
Thank you, Henry. Yeah, not much for Johnny Haynes to do, but the first opportunity for us to cast our eye over James Wilson. A very heartwarming story, pardon the pun. Took a step away from the game for a period of time due to a heart condition. He thinks he's okay, but he's certainly okay enough to play some top-level darts. He's been absolutely exceptional the past couple of days, running comfortably over the 92 average here for his campaign. And I think when you get to the situation like James Wilson has,
Johnny to through first. Game on.
Where you've had a condition, you've had a health scare, something you feel is going to take the game away from you. When you then come back to play it again, I think you find a much deeper appreciation. You don't get as nervy. You don't get as down on yourself.
93.
You realise it is, ultimately, as we always try and say to ourselves, it's just a game of darts.
100.
Yeah, absolutely. All these things we say, try and convince ourselves, but I will say Johnny Haynes has been very convincing once again in the start of this.
140.
But I think this is what's really going to fuel James Wilson. We saw it in his Group B campaign over Thursday and Friday evening, that when he got into a battle, he
83.
relished the opportunity. Didn't shy away. Actually rose his game. The more people hit him with things, the more he hit back.
77. Johnny O'Carr, 138.
It's a real test, isn't it, when you've had time away from playing any sport, really. When you come back, it is a real test, and this is the perfect
58.
environment to do it, because even if you do lose a match, you get to come back again and again and play yourself into a bit of form.
Well, that's what happened. James Wilson lost his first 3 fixtures. And with that, that would have been 3
80.
tournaments, 3
Johnny
different
O'Carr,
days. You think,
80.
well, it's going to take me a while. I'm not going to get back on it. But just pausing that thought for a moment, because Johnny Haynes has got his moment here. He only needs one leg to qualify through to the semi-finals, which means this double 10
60.
could have been the
James
one.
O'Carr, 111.
Bit of a rhythm stopper there. Johnny Haynes having to check where the dart had actually landed. A chance here as the 111's on. Tops required for Wilson.
Game
Tops
shot
is
the
found,
first
and that
leg.
is an early breaker
James
throw, and a
Wilson.
big opportunity missed there by Johnny Haynes.
Second leg, James to through first. Game on.
It's something we discussed, isn't it? But Johnny Haynes probably knows that he needs just a couple of legs to get himself through, but I don't think he's the kind of player that will go up there and just think, I need a couple of legs. He's going to want to go up there and win, because we've seen other players previously knowing that they just need 1 leg, 2 legs, concentrate on that, and you can find that you get very quickly undone.
I don't think Johnny Haynes knows what's going on other than trying to win the game, to be honest. He went home, didn't he, yesterday, thinking he was already eliminated, and found out when he was in the train station that he was actually still in the tournament. He had to book a new ticket to come back.
$121.
There is Jacob Lever enjoying his 21st birthday here at the Super Series.
100. James O'Carr,
He's had quite a nice little birthday gift as well. The winner of the 9 Dart Challenge, a little feature we have here on a Saturday night. If you come down to the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, in the
55.
media room, there's a dartboard. You throw 9 darts. Whoever gets the highest score will take home a signed dartboard. So another little feature that we do here at the Super Series. The Super Series where Johnny Haynes has just confirmed his place in the semi-final stage. He only needed a leg. He's got the leg. He's in.
Yeah, and that's the perfect reply from Haynes there to overcome that disappointment he must have felt missing the double 10 and kicked us off with another 180.
Every single leg here for Johnny Haynes in this match has been started with a maximum.
60.
At what point does he think about the 9?
Not now. I think he's gone 4 into it so far, but
83.
Yeah, I reckon you know when you get 5, 6, then you can really think about it. For me, it's like the first one. If the first one goes in, it's great.
57.
Darting bugbears, Laura. For me,
60.
it's when, do you know when someone hits treble 20, and then miss the last start, and they count it and go, I've missed a 180, and they come up and go, I missed 9 180s. Isn't that what you're trying to do every time? So technically you've
60.
missed like 50 180s.
I agree, very much so. Well, you quite often hear someone say, oh, can't believe it, I was on for a 9. Oh, right, you missed the double.
140.
No, I was like, I got 4 in. Yeah. Okay, no, then no.
Things you hear when you're out on the tours, the various conversations that are going on.
Johnny O'Carr, 38.
Well, the players that seem to be able to recall every single point of a match kind of retell it, but every time you hear it, it's slightly different than the time before. Johnny Haynes now goes into a 2-1 lead.
Fourth leg, James.
Look at that for Johnny Haynes. The question was, can he repeat what he did in match number 1? He was running at 108 for quite a majority of that. Ended up just tailing off in the end and the 100.20. But the trend continues here in the fact we're getting a 180 at the start of every leg. Oh, he couldn't do it again, could he?
Oh, you talked that out. I'm going to blame you for that. That's another thing. Blaming commentators for things that are completely out of their control.
140.
Well, James Wilson was thinking about the 9 there. He missed the 9 there, Laura, did you?
$80.
But the response here from James Wilson kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier in the match.
95.
He's been able to reply when things have been thrown at him. He seems to be able to find a response, and this is a great response once again.
Just enjoys the battle, doesn't he now, James Wilson? You do get to a point when you're going through the levels where you become a little bit hopeful at times. You're hoping your opponent misses, where he just seems to be in a point here where he just doesn't care what the opponent does. He's just enjoying the game, enjoying
61.
the fight.
Johnny O'Carr, 141.
Isn't there a song about that? The Eye of the Tiger.
It's the thrill of the fight, absolutely. Although I imagine if you are that person that seems to be able to have that resilience to fight back, you probably do think at times you can make it slightly easier for yourself.
Oh, we all want it to be easy, don't we? James Wilson not making this easy on himself.
60.
First 5 darts were all treble 20s for James Wilson. He had a good gap in the scoreboard, and he may lose the leg. A little bit tricky here for Johnny Haynes.
20. James
He actually went for the smaller side of the double. Doesn't seem too pleased about it. Well, he may not be getting any happier here. That's a happy miss there for James Wilson.
No score. Johnny O'Carr, 40.
Yeah, good effort with the last, but not to be. So Haynes once again gets a chance to stretch the lead.
Game shown the fourth leg.
Double 5
Johnny
is the
Haynes.
target found. Last dart in hand. And it's 3-1 in favour of Johnny Haynes.
And how ironic. All week, Johnny Haynes has done everything in his power to avoid double 5. Even if he's got 2 darts, he will go 2 double 4. He has avoided that like the plague.
97.
However, when he's been forced into a situation he's got to go for it, he's actually won the leg on it. Maybe he's got to change his MO.
Do you ever any doubles in your career that you just try to avoid, or just
97.
very much like Johnny not go for?
I hate tops. But if you know the maths, you can work it out well, so you can always try and leave the double 16.
180.
Yeah, well, Johnny Haynes may not have kicked off this leg with a 180, but he's still found his 4th in this match.
Is it 6 tonight so far? He got 2 in his
100.
opening game. He averaged 100 there. He's averaging 104 right now here against James Wilson. This is a man who was sat in Portsmouth train station 24 hours ago, heading home.
100.
He only won 5 of his games in Group C. And here he is now in the semi-final.
100. Johnny O'Carr, 124.
Yeah, and this is sensible play by Johnny Haynes. Didn't have to go for the 54 with
84.
Wilson. Not want to finish. So Haynes will be back for tops.
You'd normally say hit and hope in this scenario, but I don't think there's much hope here, the way that Johnny Haynes is playing 4 from 5 on his doubles
94.
in the opening
Johnny
game.
O'Carr, 40.
He's 3 from 8 here, which means with 3 darts in hand, it may be curtains for James Wilson.
No score. James
That
O'Carr,
first dart became a
110.
problem, didn't it? Both of those just catching the flight on the way in and giving James Wilson a little bit of a reprieve.
Well, he took out that 111 in the leg that he won. He's going to have to add, you feel, the 110, and he can't on this occasion. You see that,
56.
that
Johnny O'Carr,
response,
40.
frustration for Wilson.
This game's all been about Johnny Haynes. And it goes the way of Johnny Haynes as well. He came into the match only needing 1 leg to book himself in the semi-finals, but we know what Johnny Haynes is like. He wants to win everything, and if he carries on like this, he may win the lot. But that result not only puts Johnny Haynes through to the semi-final, but will be music to the ears of Andy Davidson, who went down by 4 legs to 0 in the opening game. He's now got a chance going in a straight shootout with James Wilson, but the story so far, Johnny Haynes is through. Coming up next, Derek Colson takes on Sam Spivey.
Welcome to the party in Portsmouth here at the Modus Live Line.
They've both got the talent where they can just reel off leg after leg and dish out a heavy defeat. And what a way to start the day. We're up and running here on Champions Week with a maximum.
But what a way to finish. A 12-dart leg.
Beautiful check out there from Cam Crabtree.
Only needs the one. Game shot on the second leg. Darius
What were you saying about efficiency?
Shot on the third leg.
Is
Reece
that
Robinson.
the moment that Reece Robinson comes alive in this crucial clash? Looks like he's going to go for it. And it is right next to his favourite double top. And he gets the job done at the earliest possibility. That is Cam Crabtree through.
Case not so. Harrison gets the all-important win.
Game shot on the second leg. Darius Labanowski. Game shot.
Josh Smith, is it
Darius
a
Labanowski.
9? A long time. And that clenched fist.
Game shot.
Oh, he gets the job done in the end. He's nodding in total agreement because
Game shot on the fourth leg.
Just like
Darius
that.
Labanowski.
only needs the one. And there you can see
So that she can unlock at any moment. But that is quality from Harrison. This would be a wake-up.
welcome to the party in Pompey. Should be a good marker for him. And is. It was a great guide.
Shot on the first leg. Andreas
It's
Harrison.
a breaker throw for Andres Harrison.
Shot on the second leg. Cam Crabtree.
Consecutive breaker throw. Double 16 is found.
And he does lead. It's not an 11, but it's a beautiful 12, treble 17, which he gets. Bullseye for the win. Absolutely incredible by Andreas Harrison.
He's Andreas Dirty Harrison.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. And before the break, Johnny Haynes got the better of James Wilson by 4 legs. Well, 2 games played, averages of 98 and a ton for the man from Swindon, going about his business very nicely. So the match 5 between James and Andy is going to be a straight shooter. Have a little bit different as far as Group 2 is concerned, where Derek Coulson finds himself in a little bit of danger. Defeat here will see the end of his campaign, and he takes on Sam Spivey, who's been the story and the revelation of the week so far. The debutant from Scarborough in Yorkshire really has taken the Super Series by storm, and I caught up earlier on this evening with Spivey Man. Sam, when you walked through the door on Thursday afternoon, could you imagine the Super Series experience was going to be as good as this?
No, not at all. I knew I'd be able to compete, well, hoped I'd be able to compete, but no, I didn't think it'd go as well as it did.
Was it a case of once you really hit your stride and you got those first couple of games under your belt, you really grew in confidence and you had a bit of a stature on the stage?
Yeah, I feel like you get your first win and you sort of realise, yeah, I'm good enough to be here, and it's just pushing on, and yeah, it just kept going and it was good.
When you won 5 out of 5 on Thursday, that must have felt really good when you left the building.
Yeah, it was great. It was really good. Couldn't have gone any better, really.
Then in terms of Friday, what was that like? Because I suppose it must be a different position where you've got a buffer at the top of the table to protect and possibly looking at permutations and results as to what gets you through.
Yeah, I was trying not to look too far ahead because I knew there was still work to be done, and you know, you can win 5 games one day and you can lose 5 games the next day. That's how it goes. But just try to keep concentrating and just get a couple of wins on the board and keep going.
What's the response been like since you've qualified through?
Massive support from home. It's been brilliant. I mean, Scarborough Darts is fantastic for looking after their own, and I've had loads of messages and support, so it's been great.
It's been a dream week so far. However, how much would you like to go one step better, win it tonight possibly?
It'd be amazing, but I'll stay grounded. I'm just going to go up and enjoy myself again and enjoy the experience.
Enjoy it. Wish you well. Sam, good luck.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Now Spivey is retaining an unbeaten record. He's got a dart at top to preserve it. And to top the group, Sam Spivey is unassailable in Group A. He's going to get 2 at tops. Perfectly pinned in the middle of the bed. Group C campaign, and the way Sam Spivey's playing, he may well add his name to that illustrious list. Well, those fans have paid to watch that man on the stage. Sam Spivey making his debut here at the Super Series, and he takes on Derek Coulson. Match 4 of our evening with Matthew Edgar and Laura Turner.
Thank you, Henry. 2 left-handers going head-to-head. That's something that's quite a rarity here at the Super Series. But Derek Coulson has already been on the stage already tonight, going down 4 legs to 3 to Jim Long, meaning that this is a must-win game for Derek. He's taking on Sam Spivey, young man from Yorkshire, from Scarborough, home of Graham Usher, PDC tour card holder, who's been successful down there on that stage and is hoping to follow in the footsteps. Hoping to follow in the footsteps of those debutant winners who have been here before. He nearly had the perfect Group C campaign, winning 9 from 10, and that will put players on notice here. Spivey will be taking on 2 experienced customers who he hasn't played yet this week, Derek Coulson and Jim Long, as they was taking part in a Group B campaign. But the question is now,
first leg is Derek to through first. Game on.
with the level of importance raised on the night, with the finishing line in sight, with the prize money jumps that are available, with all the extra context, can Sam Spivey still continue the way of which he performed and the composure he's shown across his Group C campaign?
Yeah, there's nothing to say that wouldn't be the case, but Derek Coulson unlucky
39
in his earlier defeat. Narrowly went down to Jim Long 4 legs to 3. Sam coming from the neck of the woods, along the lines of Tom Sykes, both play for the Yorkshire County side.
60.
Well, you're someone who's played the county system most of your life, Laura. What's it like playing Yorkshire? We know that Yorkshire are, or for a very long period of time, was the gold standard of county darts.
66.
Yeah, very tough team. One of those teams that's normally around about the top of the table. Do you remember playing away to them just a couple of seasons ago and managed to avoid the draw against Bo Greaves, who was actually playing in the B that weekend because she hadn't been playing a few games. So that's not allowed. And I think on that occasion she registered a 30 average. Probably higher than most of the team.
30 average is old school money. Nowadays we call it 90, just for the younger viewers.
It's odd. When I talk about county, I do still talk about it in a 3-dart average.
In old money.
A single dart average, yeah, absolutely.
Didn't the PDO World Championship used to use single dart average as well for a period of time?
41.
Yeah, I believe so. When I started, which was quite a while ago now, I won't say quite how long, but it was all about just single dart averages. I think it's the progression of the game that we've obviously now used the 3-dart average much more predominantly.
56.
It helps highlight those finer margins a little bit more, doesn't it? Composure was what we described Sam Spivey as, but that's going to test him. Having 2 darts on the floor. The advantage here is he didn't throw first, so you can sort of dismiss that and say, I haven't lost anything here. You just haven't gained.
Game shown
You won't be gaining here in the opening leg. Comfortable hold for Derek Colson.
Second leg, Sam through first.
No extra signs coming up, though, from that table there, was there? Maybe they didn't fully get the MO. Or maybe they just ran out of paper.
Just the one shopping receipt in the bag.
100.
It's still there on the table. Oh, it's coming up. Oh.
That was very quickly taken off the table there.
90.
They just won't let me have my fun with signs, will they, tonight?
$100. $84.
Just losing the grip a little bit in the hand here, Sam Spivey, which
39.
might be part of the reason he's getting bounce outs. There's a sign. Love you, Hayes. We're all in love with you, Hayes. Hope you're having a good time with the Super Series. I've got a feeling it might be the young lady at the back sign.
What gave it away? Was it the blushing, the hiding of the face?
57.
You've been here before. I'm writing names in the back of your workbook at school.
I'd have to draw that right from the memory banks. That was a while ago.
53.
Doing the whole practicing different surnames.
And for those of you who couldn't see, Laura was also just drawing a heart around it as well with her hand.
100.
Yeah, before we was distracted by our love for Hayes, we was discussing Sam Spivey just losing the dart in the hand a little bit, which doesn't surprise me because as I was calling that, he then lost a 3rd dart to the floor.
59.
And that's just a little sign of nerves. Just when you're moving the dart back in the hand, just you want to feel that movement still. You haven't got quite settled enough just to trust. And he does look a little bit
58.
disconnected with the game at this point in time. We've not seen him distracted. We've not seen him looking around the room and the eye not quite on the prize the way we've seen from Sam Spivey. In his group, he's lost another one, and I'm not surprised. This is one of the downsides of that little bit of movement in the hand at that deep set position. That was better.
39. Derek Carr 112.
But you saw from his reaction there, it is starting at this early stage in the match to really weigh on his mind. He has had a few on the floor.
But he probably doesn't know why, because he can't see what we're seeing. It'll all feel
80.
the same to him. He won't
Samuel Carr
realise the
111.
little things in which he is doing.
Game shot on the
Oh, that's
second
going to
leg.
make him feel
Sam
better, but those
Spivey.
ones didn't penetrate the board too deep either, did they? But great
Third
finish
leg
there
getting
from
to
Sam
first.
Spivey.
Game on.
But doesn't look too settled in any way, shape or form at the moment.
No, we've highlighted the fact he is here on debut. He did very well in his Group C campaign, just losing that one
60.
match. But that's before the crowd element comes into it. And that sometimes I think is just another new thing to get used to here at the Super Series. You're in a final. There's a big prize on the line,
99.
not just the prize money for tonight, but also that invitation to Champions Week. And then you've got the crowd here. I don't know, it won't affect everyone, but it can affect some people.
And let's put this into other contexts as well. Sam Spivey
100.
here with ADC representation. He'd have worked hard to get to this position. There are invite positions available to the Super Series as well. If he was to go and win a week, not only does he know he's coming back to Champions Week, but the likelihood is he's going to get an invitation to come back to the Super Series in future series. And this is something he really wants to do. This is part of his progression.
41.
Yeah, it's quite easy for us, isn't it? We sit in here and we know how it feels. We've been in those kind of positions ourselves before, but to try and switch your brain off to all the other elements that are kind of surrounding a match, the ideal
99.
position to be in is just going up there and throwing. But with everything else going on and the different things you have to negotiate, it's very hard to switch off.
$180.
Yeah, first maximum of the match there does go the way of Coulson.
96. Daddy your car 120.
That is tricky.
60.
The angle of entry that we spoke about already, just working against Derek Coulson. He prefers the dart to be low in the treble.
Yeah, similarly, the angle there means that Sam has to move over and he can't find the target either, so Coulson back for a 2-1 lead.
86.
60.
Daddy your car 60.
That's the ideal dart. That's
He's
where he
on the
wants it
third
to
leg,
be,
Derek
and that's
Coulson.
how he uses it. Perfect setup dart.
Four
Perfect
flags, Sam
delivery
to
there
through
for Derek
first.
Coulson.
Game on.
He's keeping his hopes alive. That's what I like. A slight shake of head, but then straight back into it. A little bit of fire. That's what he needs right now.
140. $125.
I want to enjoy myself, was the words of Derek Coulson. Do you think he's enjoying himself right now, Laura?
Yeah, there's something about his body language that says no, because now the pressure's really on. He knows that he cannot afford to lose this, because then he
100.
will be out of the tournament.
Well, the advantage he's got is he did get the 3 legs in defeat in the first game, so he could actually
100.
guarantee his passage here with a good win.
Yeah, but Sam Spivey out.
180.
Trying to find that range.
$140. Sam car 81. $56. Daddy your car 136.
And there's the first. Can't find the second, so
96.
Spivey here back for 25 to level us up at 2 apiece. Can he use that as a marker?
Game shot on the
Indeed,
fourth leg.
time for double
Sam
eight.
Spivey.
We are at 2-all.
Fifth leg Derek to throw first. Game on.
Going to need a glass of water at this rate, isn't he? Nearly finished it off.
And that's sometimes a sign of nerves, isn't it? It's a distraction when you're up on the stage.
96.
Something to go to, isn't it? It's somewhere else to try and focus. Give the mind something to do rather than just standing there processing.
60.
Not quite Rob Cross-esque yet, is he? Rob Cross would probably need about 6 glasses of that size of water.
Yeah, something that I remember specifically being told, don't do it too much. I was constantly at the table playing things like we mentioned at the county level. Just get on with it. And now it's just a case of, head on and try and get the job done.
135. $58.
That was just an unfortunate one there, just clashing into the
76.
tungsten there, Sam Spivey. But Coulson will be relieved because his throw was just getting a little bit of trouble there. And if Derek Coulson wants to guarantee his passage without having to sit around and go through drama,
95.
he needs to win this by 4-2 or better. He can still qualify with a 4-3 win, but he would need to sit back, watch other games. We might even have a 9-dart shootout in that scenario.
140. Derek 152.
Needs another one of those. Can't find the target. Shake of the head there from Derek Coulson.
128. Samukar 90.
Good setup play. But a chance here for Sam Spivey.
$65.
Oh, fine effort.
Derek 24.
But Derek Coulson still got it all in his own hands.
Game shot on the 5th leg.
He's a leg away.
Derek Coulson.
If Derek Coulson wins this leg, he will be through to the semi-finals, joining Johnny Haynes.
Game on.
That would then leave it for Sam Spivey and Jim Long to battle out.
$100.
Yeah, well, that's the perfect start for Derek Coulson. And this could be the perfect reply.
140.
He's growing into this game, isn't he? You can tell he's a player that's settling into the experience now, Sam Spivey. Throwing with a little bit more pace, a little bit more purpose.
100.
And again, Derek Coulson just using the lie of that first and second dart, pops it over the top.
See, if Sam Spivey watches this back, he'll be able to see something here. That dart dropping low again, you can see where... Signs again? Signs?
That one I disagree with. I don't know if I can say that in Portsmouth, to be fair.
Is commentary getting piped out into the arena tonight?
I don't know.
$94. For
the match, for a place in the semi-finals. Oh, it's on. Fine effort there. Sam Spivey, head down, I like that. He knows this is a big moment for him to keep it all in his own hands, to keep it in his control, to keep the equation simple going into the final game. It's the bullseye.
65. Derek 16.
Again, great effort, but not the outcome he wanted as Derek Coulson. Eyes up, 888.
Game shot in the
Derek Coulson does find 888. It's a 4-2 win for Derek Coulson. So Sam Spivey will still have to fight it out with Jim Long in the final match of this round robin stage. Nice little Shake of the hand there between the pair, and there you see the averages, and just under a 95 for Coulson. 4 out of 5 on the outer ring. That's really what did the damage, 80%. But it's that 4-2 result that goes the way of Derek Coulson that matters. Coming up next, we have James Wilson, and he's taking on Andy Davidson.
Hang on a minute.
Wow! Oh my God!
Well, that's 100 quid down the drain already.
Itching to hit the 180.
He's gone for the maximum. 18 for the bull. Bull.
53.
No, he said bull. That's a great first out from Adam. Oh, look at this. He's going to leave Skate.
Oh, can you believe it? That is unbelievable. Get match darts to put his team into the final. And through to the final they go. Charlie Murphy has hit the match-winning dart on both occasions. Double 4 for the title.
Please show your appreciation for the winner of the Influencer Pairs event, George Scaife and Adam Lipscomb.
He seems to be out. That's what he is. Charlie Murphy. A couple more visits yet. We're not going to need that.
Bosh.
Pie Face is through. He gets
And he's absolutely buzzing.
It was a game for that Pie Face dominated throughout.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where we've completed 4 matches on this Saturday evening. 2 games from each group, and this is what we have seen so far this evening. We already know that Johnny Haynes is through to the semi-finals through Group 1, and because Derek Coulson's going to end with 2 points and a positive legs difference, he is through from Group 2. We just don't know in what position yet. So Johnny Haynes guaranteed to won Group 1. This next game between James Wilson and Andy Davidson is a straight shootout to see who is going to join him into the Final Four. It's the first knockout match of the evening, and it's going to be watched by Laura Turner and Matthew Edgar.
Thank you, Henry. Our attention back in Group 1, the group that has been dominated by Johnny Haynes, and these 2 players that took a beating by that man, Johnny Haynes. 100.20 and 98.09, running well over 100 throughout the game, and the scoring power of Johnny Haynes is something to be feared. But he's got a long break now in the back room. He'll be preparing himself for the semi-finals, and who will be joining him from this group? A straight shootout. Win and you're in. Lose.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
On the
first
motorway.
leg, James through first. Game on.
The advantage with James Wilson, that because he's got the advantage of throwing first. He's also the only player that's got a leg on the board tonight out of the 2 players on stage. And for Andy
41.
Davidson, that can become a problem because you just want that first leg on the board, and he's only actually had a dart at a double today.
60.
Yeah, the dominance of Johnny Haynes in that opening match over Andy Davidson, as you say. Just the one opportunity. Wilson did carve out a few more. Converted the 1, but it was 1 from 7.
41. 57.
Well, a tentative start from both players.
46.
Neither able to find the treble target as yet, but I don't imagine it will stay that way for long.
134. One of them, 40. $90.
Well, Davidson first down to a finish. James Wilson with the opportunity to leave a better one.
100. And your
Same
car,
equation, 2 trebles for
160.
double, despite the 27-point advantage. That is 2 trebles, but not the 2 trebles he was requiring.
77. James Yakar, 133.
Choices. Treble 19, the traditional option here for the double 8.
Game shown the first leg, James Wilson.
A touch of class, a touch of quality
Second
when
leg,
he
Andy
needs it the
Davidson
most,
first.
James Wilson.
Game on.
And Andy Davidson will be wondering what on earth is going on tonight. He has ran into a big performance of Johnny Haynes and maybe running into one again here. A player who is very inexperienced in regards to his darting journey, Andy Davidson. Only really been playing at this sort of level for about 6 months. He's a player that wants a little bit more, wants to go on a journey, and he's just gathering experience all the time.
One of them, 40.
Yeah, arguably both very much different stages of their career. You mentioned earlier on the CV of James Wilson, probably the most experienced in the field at the level.
One of them, 80.
What did we say earlier at the start of the show? When James Wilson plays with a little bit of rhythm, a little bit of fluency, a little bit of freedom, he starts to
61.
find, and he's doing it again here. Look at the pace here from James Wilson.
98.
Completely
Undercar,
different character.
120.
It's as if that more methodical, deliberate style doesn't quite suit him anymore.
40. James Yakar,
And I don't think you can
102.
underestimate how important it is to certain players, especially ones that, like James, who said he's had that break, getting that first leg in a match. Maybe that's the catalyst that he needs
Game shown the
to find
second
these
leg,
kind of finishes.
James
Backs
Wilson.
up that 133 with a 102.
Third leg, James to throw first. Game on.
More importantly there, break a throw, and also a little bit of dejection there for Andy Davidson for the very first time of watching Andy
96.
Davidson. And let's say it's not been a long period of time, but walking around shaking his head at the back of the stage there. Maybe
58.
feels that he's playing okay and can't land a blow, and if that's how he's feeling, he'd be correct, because he's been playing good darts tonight. Been running around about the 90 average for the evening.
100.
Yeah, we were saying in the break, weren't we, the standard of play that we've been experiencing tonight has been very, very good.
99.
As you say, that last leg, Andy Davidson had the throw, found a 180, and still denied an opportunity at the outer ring. So far tonight, it's still just that one lone chance that Davidson had at a double in the opening match. And that would have felt
60.
like a long time ago.
One of them, 80.
Second 180. And a bit of a reaction from Davidson.
You can get into a moment where, even though you're playing well, because the result's going against you, you feel like you're not.
45.
And I wonder if Andy Davidson's getting to that point at the moment where he feels like he's not quite producing. His average at the moment is 98 in this
64.
game. Granted that a scoring average, because he's yet to have a dart at a double, but you do feel he's going to be getting one very soon.
$100. And your car, 100.
And here's that double, and he
Game shot on
does
the
find
third
the
leg,
target.
Andy
And what a
Davidson.
reaction from Andy Davidson. It obviously feels good just to get that leg on the board.
Fourth leg, Andy.
But in the
through
context of the
first.
match, what
Game
is
on.
important, that was a breaker throw. And one of two that he's going to need to find if he's going to win today.
59. $100.
We've been treated to 3 ton plus checkouts so far in the match. The ton that we've just seen there from Davidson, the 133 and the 102 from James
55.
Wilson. Very much a masterclass of how to finish.
It's been a really good evening of darts. I think one thing for sure at the moment is it's pretty impossible to pick a winner from here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as we kind of implied at the top of the show, everyone may
96.
sense this as a real opportunity to pick up the trophy and secure that spot in Champions Week.
$95. $58. James Car 126.
Could we see a fourth ton plus checkout? James Wilson looking at 126.
$78.
Not converting the 126, leaves 48, and he will be back. Didn't have to go for it, could have opted to set
95.
up.
James Car 48.
To put himself a leg away from the semi-finals. Joining Johnny Haynes. Joining Derek Colson.
32.
That did seem
Andy Car
problematic.
138.
He has a little look over on the approach there to the scoreboard. He'll be happy with what he sees here. Davidson a long way back and can't
98. James
take
Car
out the
16.
finish. So a nice clean open target this time for Wilson.
Game shown the fourth leg. James Wilson.
Used that first start effectively, finds the target, and now one leg
Fifth
away
leg, James to throw first. Game
from
on.
winning the match and securing a place in the semi-finals.
$140. $100.
Awkward light. The first start there for Wilson, so
57.
to switch.
$100.
That is a very, very important last start there for Andy Davidson, just to keep tabs for James Wilson.
And this is really a different kind
100.
of test for Andy Davidson. We saw in his Group A campaign, he was dominant throughout proceedings.
125.
And he's found himself today coming up against a very in-form Johnny Haynes in his opening match. And again, James Wilson producing a really high-quality match against him.
A really unfortunate last start as well, that wasn't it?
128.
Caught the flight on the way through, flicks off to the fives, ends up not leaving a finish. So now James Wilson knows he's got an opportunity to get this job done now.
85. James Car 76.
This to confirm his passage. So down at the tops.
Game.
And it's a
shot
dart
and a
at
match.
tops for James Wilson to keep his return to the sport going well. Andy Davidson's return to the Super Series has been a good one. He's won his Group A campaign, but it's not been his night tonight on Saturday. He departs us from Group 1, meaning it is Johnny Haynes and James Wilson going through. And what an exhibition of finishing there. 50%, 100%, 3 ton plus checkouts. But our attention moves back now to Group 2, where it's all to play for with Sam Spivey and Jim Long.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. That's the stage, the fabled stage, the famous Live Lounge stage. And it's a stage which James Wilson will be throwing on one more time. He got the better of Andy Davidson before the break. Our final game is between Sam Spivey and Jim Long. Now, the permutations here, fairly simple. Jim Long needs just 3 legs to make it through. Sam Spivey needs a victory of 4-2 or better if he is to make it into the final 4 on his debut. Let's hand over to Laura Turner and Matthew Edgar, who are in the commentary box.
Thank you, Henry. Sam Spivey here on debut. Got a very experienced customer here in Jim Long.
First leg, Sam to through first. Game on.
A player who's had success, a player who's been in Champions Week, a player who's recently picked up a title, but Sam Spivey has shown a lot this week, and Jim Long was very aware of that. He sat up in the studio with myself and Henry at the end of his Group B campaign. He said, if you can win 9 in 10 in this arena, you must be a good player. And he's showing Jim Long straight away just how good he is, refinding that composure.
140.
Back in the treble once again. Will he fill it up? He will indeed. Back-to-back 180s to kick us off.
Earlier in the week, Jim Long nearly had the 9-darter hit against him, and he let out the most audible groan going. How ironic that Jim Long is going to be still at the back of the stage again as a player approaches looking at the 9. Oh, it's on. Fine effort, but the most important thing for Sam Spivey here is winning legs, and you wouldn't even know looking at him that he's just missed that 9-dart opportunity. Cool and composed, he's regained it, he's settled into the evening as it's gone on, and he could open this game with a 10-darter.
Game show on the first leg.
10-darter it is, and a great start there for Sam Spivey and Jim once again. Sporting fist bump.
Jim to through first. Game on.
Yeah, but as you say, all concentration and focus on the face of both these players. They've both got a job to do.
What a start as well. Isn't this the point you're supposed to get nervous, Laura?
I get nervous just sitting in here, if I'm honest. But yeah, neither of these two showing any real signs of nerves.
Suppose that's the thing, isn't it? Nerves and excitement are such a very similar feeling, and they're very close together, and it's where do you pitch it? Where do you believe you are in that spectrum?
It's that rush of adrenaline, as you say. It's being able to control it, and that's something that normally comes with time, with experience. But Sam Spivey, very cool, calm and collected.
I think a lot of it is built in you personality-wise as well, how you react to adrenaline. You can learn to embrace adrenaline, but I think you also need to have something in your DNA that loves that feeling.
77. Jimmy Carr 161. $61.
Rounds it off.
$60. Jimmy
Spivey
Carr
not
100.
able to keep the pace of which he found in leg 1.
Game show on the second leg.
In normal situations, you'd look at this and say, that's not a problem.
Third leg, Sam to
All
through
Sam's
first.
got to do
Game
is
on.
hold his throw. He doesn't need to break Jim Long, but in this game he does. He has to win by 4 legs to 2 or better. Jim Long gets to 3.
59.
He is through.
Yeah, this group 2 not quite as straightforward as group 1.
121.
A few permutations. compared to that opening match, just the way that they're landing in the board.
123.
Sam Spivey, much better, much more positive.
It's the dart in the hand, so when he was drawing the dart back, he kept pushing the dart down in his hand, so it changed the angle.
180.
And ultimately, when he throws the dart, then it's coming out the hand at a different angle, which is ultimately going to enter the board differently. You see there, he's got a little bit where he's pushing it down, but he's still keeping the angle of the dart in the hand. It's still facing up. And look at those numbers. 5 maximums between the pair, and this is leg number 3.
Yeah, make that 6 between them.
39.
Absolute monster averages. Fantastic game between the pairing. Yeah, good effort there from Sam.
$106. Jim McCarr 20.
To break the throw of Sam Spivey. This would put him just a leg away. He only needs 3 legs here, Jim Long. And he's got 2 of them already. Sam Spivey being hit hard by Jim Long's absolute best here. 114.50 the average for Jim Long. The pair are serving up an absolute classic here. 6 maximums between the pair in 3 legs, which means the all-time record of combined maximums is under threat here.
135.
The best tally is a record held by Chris Gilliland and Luke Littler. A man who's more used to smashing records in
60.
darts could have his record broken here at the Super Series.
$54.
You know what's going to happen now? I've just teased that up. There's not going to be another one now, is there?
Always the way.
140.
Well, so far, this pair have gone out in 10, 12 and 15 darts. Didn't happen. There is a 7th 180.
This is on, isn't it? The way in which they're playing, we'll expect to get plenty more legs.
140.
But this is for qualification now for Jim Long. Doesn't need to win the game, he just has to get to 3. Another one of those. I thought the lie was okay there for Jim Long. Seemed plenty of room to the left.
Sam McCarr 161.
This would be massive. Not going to go for Sam Spivey.
I'm sure the players would have been told the
57.
permutations
Jim McCarr 48.
for qualification to take the final spot in the semi-finals. And he's there.
Jim Long.
Jim Long completes the lineup. He is the final man into the semi-finals. But now can he get through with a win? Sam Spivey has been eliminated, and what a week he has had here. What a debut. I am certain we will see more of Sam Spivey in the future.
Yeah, he's been very impressive, as you say.
$100.
Good last start there from Jim Long.
This has really been an unbelievable performance
40.
here from Jim Long. By far the best we've seen from him all week. And if he can complete the job, he will also win the group. Now, that will give him benefits. It's not going to give him benefits in terms of who he plays. He's going to have to play James Wilson, the jammy dodger. Oh, another.
120.
But what it'll do is it'll give him the advantage of throw. So, key here for Jim Long.
$60.
Yeah, in a race to 4, you really cannot underestimate how important it can be to have the advantage of throw.
140.
Keeps tempting us, doesn't it?
97. Jim McCarr, 141.
Couldn't complete on that occasion, but we'll be back. Sam Spivey all the way back on 244.
I feel this will be the last visit, really, for Sam Spivey. Maybe a parting gift. Not going to find the max. And Jim Long
140.
will be expecting 2 darts. He's got a choice. Leaves tops, his favourite. He's been leaving it all week. And what a performance that is from Jim Long. Wow. 4 180s and an average of 111.38. He departs the stage quickly. He's just sort of walked off. It was nothing. Sam Spivey, 99.30. A great performance from him, a great week. He was very good in his Group C campaign, top in the group, winning 9 from 10. I'm sure we're going to see plenty more from him at the Super Series, but we're not going to be seeing it tonight. That completes our semi-final lineup. We'll let you know who's playing who and all the permutations after this break.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where the group stage action on this Saturday evening has been completed. And as you can see, Johnny Haynes making mincemeat of Group 1, whilst Jim Long won both of his games in Group 2, including an average of 111 before the break against Sam Spivey. An incredible game to win 4-1. The semi-finals, Johnny Haynes up against Derek Coulson and Jim Long up against James Wilson. Those semi-finals will take place in around about a quarter of an hour's time. Watching every single dart in the commentary box has been Matthew Edgar and Laura Turner. They join us in the studio now. First of all, Matt, sometimes weeks brought to a Saturday and they can fall flat on its face a little bit, but not this evening.
Did I tell you when I came up here at the start of the show, I says that practice room excitement. It was buzzing. This, for people, they're punching up. This is their big night, and it shows. They're up there. Everything means something. The passion, you can really see it coming through in the players. From the very first darts that was thrown by Johnny Haynes tonight to the last ones there that we've just seen from Jim Long, this has been by far the best Saturday night I've ever been involved in there at the Super Series. An incredible night of action so far. Long may it continue.
We'll talk more in depth game by game in just a second, but overall, when you look at some of the numbers that have been posted by pretty much everybody in the field, everybody turned up tonight, and the two that have gone home in the group can feel desperately unlucky, particularly Sam Spivey.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we were saying before, just looking at the Andy Davidson and Sam Spivey, they didn't do a great deal wrong. They just came up against some really strong performances from their opponents. And, with regards to Andy Davidson, obviously he was one that we kind of picked as, potentially able to lift the trophy at the end. And he only had the 2 shots at a double, had to pick the one that actually he converted. He had to take out 100 checkout to actually get it. So just goes to show exactly what Matt was just saying, the standard has been exceptional.
And it was Johnny Haynes that kicked it off with that match against Andy Davidson. 100.2 average, 60 darts to beat him 4-0. And if the truth be told, the Scot had no looking in this match.
No, and nor did James Wilson either. It's been that sort of night for Johnny Haynes. The scoring power's been incredible. The maximum hitting's been incredible. The game against James Wilson, he's hitting a 180 with the first 3 darts every time. I thought he's starting to tee up and start to think of the 9. He's run around about the 100 average for the majority of the night. In the scoring phase, though, he's been well above that. Going into the last legs, he's been running around about the 108. And the question is now, can he sustain that? I think the danger for me with Johnny Haynes is the fact that his last game was quite a while ago now. He's had quite a long gap, quite a long break. And when you go up there and you're playing well, like he's gone, you go up there, you're full of adrenaline, you're full of purpose, you've got that good winning feeling, you've got the vibe. But now you've got to go sit down. Now what he'll do is he'll try ticking over, but what you can't do is you can't replicate and you can't keep that flow going. When you're playing on things like the Pro Tour and you get into the latter stages, it's literally 5 minutes you're back on, 5 minutes you're back on, because you need to stay within that flow. And my only concern is maybe it's took a little long and maybe he's going to lose a little bit of that intensity.
In terms of James Wilson, lost that opening match to Johnny, but he played effectively a quarter-final game against Andy in match 5. And sometimes with a player that hasn't played as much as him, these could be the games where he could be found wanting. But in matter of fact, it was perhaps the complete opposite.
Yeah, it was a masterclass, wasn't it? Matt and I said, the finishing was exceptional. And James Wilson just seems to be that player that when he's got his back against the wall ever so slightly, he just seems to be able to find the next level. Obviously, this feels like it's been a bit of a test for him coming back. You spoke to him, obviously, about his health issues as well. So to come here and then produce the levels that he's producing and react to the way that he's reacted when he has been under a bit of pressure, I think he's been really, really exceptional.
How will Andy Davidson view tonight?
He should view it still as a positive. Yes, he's only won 1 leg. It's very easy to pick out the negatives, absolutely. It's much harder to pick out the positives, and that's what stops people progressing. Because it is hard to look at a night tonight where you've only won 1 leg and find something good in that. But that's ultimately what makes the elite and the good, because they're able to do that. They're able to find what's working. He got here, that's the first thing. He won Group A, there's another positive. He's played well tonight, there's another positive. It's just he's ran into a couple of big performances and he wasn't able to match them on this night. Doesn't mean on another night he can't do it. We've seen him match and we've seen him go better than that himself. It's just on this one individual night it didn't work. Whatever happens with the rest of the year for Andy Davidson, it's been a huge success, and one night should not define your year.
Well, that's the story of Group 1. Group 2 was just as electrifying. Derek Coulson was the first name to put himself into the hat, the semi-finals, through that particular group. Lost his first game against Jim Long, but again, a little bit like James Wilson. When it mattered against Sam Spivey, he came up with a big enough performance. Yeah, definitely. And he was unlucky against Jim Long. It was a close result, 4-3. But I think as well, he managed to maintain that standard that he played against Jim, took it into the next match, and I think for me Sam just took that little bit too long to get going. Derek completely took full advantage of it, and as you say, then he booked himself a place in the semi-final. Jim Long, how good was that performance just before the break?
I didn't see it coming. I didn't. I mean, Jim Long, we've described him as consistent, we've described him as reliable, we've never described him as explosive. And that was explosive. That's performance of the week. One of the performances of the series, in the context of the fact he needed to win the game as well, or get to 3 legs, but winning the game certainly gives him that advantage going into the semi-finals. So I was how can you pick a fault in that performance of Jim Long? And somehow we still managed to lose a leg, which again just puts more credit on Sam Spivey. And in terms of Sam, there's so many positives he can take from this week. And in fairness to him,
he put the fight up to Jim. He just came up against somebody averaging 111, and sometimes you just got to shake the opponent's hand and say, well played.
Well, you think back to that first opening leg. He went 7 darts into, a perfect 9, managed to tee up 32, went out in 10 darts, and he maintained that for quite a bit. I think the change in the match for me was when Jim Long broke him in the third. Just saw that kind of head go down. He knew he had to, push forward. He knew that he had to win by a bit of a margin if he was going to make it through. Couldn't quite do it. But again, that's also down to the relentless scoring power of Jim Long there.
Just to put a bit more context on what that 111 means, just 24 hours ago, Luke Littler took to the Players' Championship final stage against Rob Cross, and he threw 112. And that has been in every newspaper, every article, every media source, saying how out of this world that performance is. That's only 1 point better than what we've seen there of Jim Long, averaging the 111.38.
In terms of Sam altogether, what should he take from this week as an experience altogether?
He lost the one game in Group C. He was completely dominant over the rest of the field. He's here on debut. It's a process. We've seen it with a lot of players. When they come back, they can then build on that. It's not a new thing. It's not quite so scary because it's not on debut. And I think just keep doing the things that he's doing. He's obviously playing for Yorkshire, which is notoriously very good county squad as well. And he's playing alongside like Tom Sykes, for example. And he can take from what Tom's done here. And hopefully, I think he's going to try and replicate that himself. But there is a lot of positives that Sam should and can take from this experience.
And so on to the semi-finals we go. They're going to start in around about 5 minutes' time. And we kick off with a meeting between Johnny Haynes and Derek Coulson. In matter of fact, you look at the players that are still left in it. It's got very much a World Seniors variety. Johnny Haynes and Derek going toe-to-toe first. Two players that we've seen a real A-game from at points this week. But is it also fair to say that we've also seen some inconsistencies on both at times?
We have, but they both are experienced enough to know they need to look forwards, not backwards, and they've done enough tonight. They've shown enough tonight. When I say about building on positives, these are two people that have to have done that, because you don't play darts at their age and still play it to the level they do and pick up titles the way they are if you're not got that quality and that key skill of being able to pick out the positives. So they'll certainly both fancy their chances. Johnny Haynes and Derek Coulson both have said tonight that they feel like they're on a bit of a free roll, so they'll probably be happy to be in this stage. But Johnny Haynes, this has been possibly the best I've seen from him for quite some years, and not just in a one-off performance now. He did that in both of his matches in the group.
And in terms of semi-final number 2, I suppose the big question is going to be, can Jim Long replicate that previous performance against Sam Spivey?
Yeah, I don't expect to see the same kind of levels. I mean, that was, an out-of-the-world performance, one that we weren't quite expecting. Obviously, he should be coming into that semi-final. He's only just had it. He'll be very confident. That will be, the most recent memory of what he's got up on that stage. I don't expect him to tail off too much. I still think there's big performances in there, but I think we've seen big performances from everyone. So it will be interesting just to see, how the rest of the night, if they can all maintain the standards, because I have to say I've been enjoying this evening very, very much.
Is James Wilson the man that's gone under the radar so far this evening?
Good question, actually, because when we look and we think about the people we've highlighted, we spoke about James Wilson being so good. We spoke about the fact he's got the highest CV, but on the same aspect, and I've been monitoring the social outputs as well this afternoon and this evening to see what our viewers are thinking is going to happen. And James Wilson, someone's name I haven't seen coming up, and maybe it should, because certainly when he gets in the flow, when he plays with that rhythm and that freedom and he just lets it go rather than trying to be a little bit more deliberate, he's shown some real class and quality. And we know how far he can go. He can go further, and he's gone further than anyone in this group by a significant distance.
Well, thank you both for now. We'll hear from you in the commentary box. It's time for the semi-finals here from the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. It kicks off with Johnny Haynes up against Derek Coulson, two senior stars going toe-to-toe.
Goes the way of Johnny Haynes as well. He came into the match only needing one leg.
Double 8. Derek Coulson does find double 8.
Well, it's DC up against the Punk, but who's going to write the final chapter here at the Super Series on this Saturday night? Johnny Haynes has previously won a Week 11 in the past. Derek Coulson looking to make it through to back-to-back Champions Weeks. But who is going to win this first semi? Let's find out in the company of Laura Turner and Matthew Edgar.
It's been a great night for that man in your screen right there, the 60-year-old from Swindon. He hit the ground running. He's beat Andy Davidson. He has beat James Wilson, and he has only dropped one leg in doing so. Derek Coulson thought he was out going into his last game yesterday when he averaged 108 to give himself a chance of qualification. He went down by 4 legs to 3 to Jim Long before a 4-2 victory over Sam Spivey has booked himself a place in the semi-finals. In fact, that's a narrative that can be spun for both players. Johnny Haynes left. He was in the train station. He was going home. But they are both here now, and one of them is going to be in the final.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First leg, Johnny to through first. Game on.
Yeah, I think more than anything, I'm quite glad that Johnny had the sense to just double-check what the final standings were before actually
85.
boarding the train and then making his trip back to Portsmouth.
Imagine if he didn't, or was all sat here like, what time's Johnny getting here? Like, he's got his interview in a minute.
134.
Fortunately, a situation we've not had yet at the Super Series. A player doesn't realise they've not qualified.
140.
Johnny just seems to be throwing with that relaxed freedom, but it's just been so deadly when it comes to the scoring element of the matches.
60.
He's one of those players, isn't he, that plays with a nice, relaxed freedom that when they play well makes the game look so easy. Very like a Gary Anderson, Adrian
60.
Lewis type fluency.
And the one thing as well with Johnny, he is a slightly more rhythmical player than Coulson, but his experience, he just keeps his same rhythm, keeps his same pace.
$40. 60.
Well, Coulson first down to a finish. Haynes will be looking to leave
60.
Something a bit handier it is, but he would have wanted to do some more with that.
There was that danger, wasn't there, for Johnny Haynes, that maybe just losing a little bit of the intensity of the moment.
$98. Johnny O'Carr, 116.
Wayward dart means there's no finish here. Derek Coulson a chance to break the throw here. The earliest possibility.
76. Johnny O'Carr, 52.
Yeah, Haynes manages to tidy up, leave a double, but it's Coulson with the first opportunity to go for it, and he hits it.
Derek Coulson.
And Johnny Haynes there was at the back of the stage, just having a couple of almost practice swings, just getting himself in that set position. Have you ever experienced anything like this, Laura, before, where you've had a big gap between games?
Well, yeah, obviously play it. I've had the privilege of experience in playing at the WDF and be what was the BDO, and also more recently in the PDC and the Women's Series. And you mentioned before, when you're playing at the PDC, it's game after game after game. But when you're playing on the WDF, where you have such big entry numbers and kind of a limitation on boards and things, then yeah, I think the Dutch Open, my wait between match 1 and match 2 was about 4 hours. It's like starting again.
Do you find it easier when you just get in the flow, just play the games quicker, or do you find any solace in the break?
Yeah, I don't mind having a little break. I think the hard thing is just, especially if you've had a good game, it's maintaining the intensity, the levels that you need to progress within a tournament. However, sometimes I find game after game after game, that's quite difficult. That's probably because it's a newer experience for us.
95.
I guess the other thing as well is if you do make it through to the final stages where they are going to be played on stage and played out all in one day, that break is probably the hardest one to try and negotiate
40.
because you've got as far as you can get, and I think 5-6 hours sometimes between actually finishing and getting to a point of a semi or a final, and then having to wait again. It's like resetting.
45.
Yeah, you can just tell there's not that same element of fluency about Johnny Haynes at the moment. It's a very hard thing to do to manage that time, and you battle yourself at times, don't you? Do I carry on throwing? Do I sit down? I don't want to throw too much. I've got to make sure I'm throwing enough.
121.
And ultimately, when you argue with yourself, even when you're winning, you're losing. Oh, and he's looked at the 25 there, and he's hit the bullseye. A bit of a risky strategy here with Derek Colson in striking range.
Yeah, I agree. It's at that point when you hit that ball instead of the 25, you kind of think, can I just throw at the 11? Pretend I've done it in a different order?
Johnny Haynes was nodding, he expected it to go, and he is punished for that. Well, it's got to be said an error.
Game on.
In that situation, you've got to be looking 11 ball. It was a risky play, and he got burnt.
135.
Yeah, and that option by Johnny Haynes to go the 25-36 route as opposed to 11 ball has meant that so far he has been denied an opportunity at the outer ring throughout this entire match.
140.
When you look back at the round robin stages, it was actually what Johnny Haynes was doing to his opposition.
140.
Andy Davidson just having the one at the outer ring, and James Wilson had 7, but still just the one leg.
140.
The chalk derby, isn't it, this one? You may notice
95. Johnny will cut
spattering of
86.
white around the treble 20. Both players, as we've alluded to throughout the evening.
70. Johnny will cut 170.
This will be a big ask. This will be a big moment for a double break of throat. Oh, it's on. Another one of those.
And there, those fine lines, the fine margins.
16.
Good effort there from Derek Coulson, but couldn't convert the big fish. Johnny Haynes chases a double round the board.
14. Daniel Carr, 72.
5 darts at a double now for Johnny Haynes, and he's not been able to find a successful hit. For full control, he's got 2 darts. Double 6.
60.
Well, this is the
Johnny
sort
O'Connor,
of
2.
area Johnny Haynes traditionally hates. But
Game
he loves
shot
it
third
now.
leg, Johnny Haynes.
It's the doubles that Johnny Haynes tends to avoid that he tends to be hitting this
Fourth leg
evening.
getting
He's
to
hit that
through
double
first.
5.
Game on.
We see him normally burst the score in that situation, obviously. Not a plan to leave the double 1. But the more peculiar doubles for Johnny Haynes are what are bailing
80.
him out.
$100.
Good last by Johnny Haynes.
$60.
Yeah, a bit of an invitation there from Coulson. If Johnny Haynes can find a couple of trebles, could take the initiative in this leg.
85.
Derek Coulson just taking a little bit of the pace out of the game here. Just trying to be a little bit more deliberate.
And as players, it's something you have to try and adapt to. I think if you play someone that plays at a very similar pace to yourself, it's conducive to normally getting the best starts out of a player. But you do have to learn to adapt. If you're a slower, more methodical player, you have to learn how to play faster players and vice versa.
100. $140, $121.
Well, we've seen Coulson take out the 101. Now looking for the 121. Ball, the target.
96, Johnny O'Carr 76. $36,
And
Johnny
you can
O'Carr
see exactly
25.
what Johnny Haynes thought about that.
Oh, a bit of a slip. It's only going to be the one dart. It's all he needs.
On the fourth leg,
He's a leg away from the final. A leg away
fifth leg, Johnny
from a
to serve
Super
first.
Series
Game
weekly
on.
title and a place in Champions Week. And it would be a good end to the year, this, for Derek Coulson.
43, thank you.
He's recently picked up a seniors title. Now looking to add Super Series glory.
$91. $85.
Yeah, and those big numbers and that deadly accuracy that we saw from Johnny Haynes in the round robin stages, he just hasn't been able to replicate. And he's finding himself in all sorts of trouble here against Derek Coulson.
100.
I think this was the fear for me and Johnny Haynes, just
81.
that long break. It just doesn't suit that sort of style. When you've got a player that plays with rhythm and flow, and they're in the flow, and they've got that rhythm, that weight can be very hard to manage, and it's one of those things that just a bit unfortunate of the style of play.
It's one of those reoccurring discussions we have when it comes to the longer format matches that we see on the TV, is when the break comes along.
100.
The player that's playing well doesn't want the break, but the one that's not playing so well does like it, and you feel something similar has happened here with Johnny.
Didn't need to stay on the treble 20 there.
98.
Sets it up beautifully. Picks his double of choice after 12 darts. This is a solid performance from Derek Coulson. He could be the first name into the final.
140, Johnny O'Carr 32.
Johnny Haynes just giving him something to think about. Is that awkward?
16,
Did
Johnny
prove to
O'Carr
be.
52.
Johnny Haynes now 52 required to stay in the match, to stay in the tournament, and he misses the single number. So the one dart at tops, and he cannot
12.
convert.
Johnny O'Carr 16.
So 3 match darts already here, Derek Coulson.
Game shot of the match, Derek Coulson.
And they will add up no more. Johnny Haynes started his campaign so well tonight. He won his group, a 4-0 victory over Andy Davidson, a 4-1 over James Wilson. But the long break just seemed to be too much for the punk. He wasn't able to come up in the semi-finals here against Derek Coulson and repeat that form line. Derek Coulson, solid. Derek Coulson, consistent. They're the words that we always use for him, and now we're going to call him a finalist. He'll be coming back soon, but who will he be playing? Will it be Jim Long or James Wilson?
This will be some way to win 4-0 again. Oh boy. And look at that from Nathan Rafferty! Reminds me of one of the greatest Richie Burnett sayings that has been uttered out loud. 180! Gets his second 1-8 of the match and levels up with Scott. That statistic. 4 180s for our first match of the night. So far, it's quite some going. And 20 26 180s in total last night, I think. Get something fairly similar. Oh, we've got another one from Burnett though. We'll come back to that story about Richie Burnett a little bit later, because last night he had a crack at this.
128. Richie
didn't get dart 8.
41.
He's got the 60. He's got the 45. Double 18. Richie Burnett hits a 9 darter. Get in there, the Prince of Wales.
Not saying anything. Not putting a curse on it.
180. Danny McCarr,
Just do it, Danny. Do it. Do it. Do it. He's done it.
Shot of the match. Danny
It's incredible.
Landry. 180.
Win for Jeffrey Swan, defeating Diving Bird at 6-5 as
59.
Heenahan finds his first max of the match. It's the first max. This one in the opening game. White buses.
180.
This will be some way to win it with a 9.
140. Can he require 141?
Go on, Conor Heenahan.
Conor Heenahan.
Winning the match with the magical 9 darter.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where Derek Coulson has booked his place in the final with a 4-1 win against Johnny Haynes in our first Final Four match. Coming up in a few moments' time, Jim Long is going to take on James Wilson. That's the second of our semi-finals this evening. Jim Long, last time out, got the better of Sam Spivey, averaging 111 in the process. We'll see whether he can replicate anywhere near those levels against the jammy Dodger, who may well be the unknown quantity of the scene. He's played consistently all night long, but maybe he's been overshadowed by the big performances by players elsewhere. It's our second semi-final, and it's game on.
Tops, his favourite, has been leading it all week, and what a performance that is from Jim Long. It's a dart at tops for James Wilson to keep his lead.
Time for semi-final number 2, and somebody's got a hip and a scop and I don't even know what that line is anymore. Right, let's just get into second semi-final mode, shall we? James Wilson against Jim Long. It's been a long week. I can't even get my words together. Let's go to comms. Matthew Regalorton, I hope you've got a couple.
Was it a hop, skip and a jump, was he trying to say?
I don't know. Oh, no, it happens to everyone, I'm sure. But yes, we've got plenty of words.
Well, we've seen plenty of quality tonight. James Wilson producing some for us in the 4-1 victory over Andy Davidson. He took out 2 big finishes, a 1-3-3 and a 1-0-2, and really played with some rhythm and fluency, but we've seen nothing this week and barely anything this series like we saw from Jim Long when he won 4-1 against Sam Spivey, an average of 111.38. 2 players that both came through Group B campaigns will lock horns again here. And the pacing of this game is going to be interesting for me, Laura, because we know Jim Long is not going to get drawn into any change of pace, where for James Wilson we've seen him alternate between the two. Do we see here potentially James Wilson get drawn into something a little bit more methodical?
First leg is Jim to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, it is quite possible. It's something that we've spoken about a bit, and I've noticed James Wilson seems to be almost finding that relaxed pace and that relaxed throw after he's managed to chalk up a leg on the board, so wants to try and replicate that from the off.
60.
Can be contagious, can't it, the pace of a game? When you play those quick players, you can get drawn into throwing a bit quick, and when you play a deliberate one, you almost feel like you're trying to match their energy.
121.
Yeah, indeed. Absolutely.
But Jim Long, at the start of the week, when he was picking through the players, James Wilson was one of the
60.
players he picked out. And that's because of what James Wilson has done in the game. Been a PDC Tour card holder on 2 occasions,
57.
a TV title winner in the BDO, that being the World Darts Trophy. He was in the PDC's top 32 during 2017 and 2018 and was in and around it there for 4 years, ending 2016 as the world number 36. Well, these yearly endings, 36,
100.
31, 26 and 38 across a 4-year span. 5 times we have seen James Wilson on the Alexandra Palace stage.
125.
If you really want to know the full magnitude of his quality, twice played at the World Match Player, quarter-finalist at the
60.
World
Jimmy
Grand
Carr,
Prix,
133.
quarter-finalist at the European Championships, twice played in the Grand Slam of Darts, and 4 times in the Players' Championship finals. An event that is happening right this second.
93.
Jim Long there sets himself up on top. Where's James
45.
Wilson?
Jimmy Carr, 40.
Left himself with a bit of a bogey there. 163.
Getting shot on the first leg, Jim Long.
That target for Jim Long this week tops.
Second
He
leg,
has
James
been
through
deadly.
first.
He
Game
leaves
on.
it at every opportunity, and you can totally understand why.
58. $100.
Derek Colson awaiting the winner of this one.
100.
But just like in the first semi-final, we've got one player keeping pace in what they've been doing throughout the evening, and one just dropping off a little bit here and that. James Wilson, who's not quite got into
60.
stride as of yet, and now his throw is in trouble.
Now, we've commented that when James Wilson's had his back against the wall, he has been able to find an answer, but
100.
so far it's been all the way of the Canadian. Jim Long down to a finish after 9.
$59.
Just feel like he's finding or searching at the moment, don't you, James Wilson? Because the pace has alternated throughout this game. Bullseye if he wants it. Oh, he's gone for it.
136.
Didn't need to with James Wilson back on 2-2-4. But that is a sign of a player who feels good, and why wouldn't he feel good? It's been so good this evening for Jim Long.
94.
4-3 over Derek Colson, who he may play in the final. 4-1 over Sam Spivey with 111 average.
Game shot
Now
the second leg,
2-0 up
Long.
against James Wilson again. 3 digits. 100.20. That
first.
means
Game on.
Jim Long is averaging 15 darts a leg. If that continues, James Wilson's going to need to find a 12 or better here.
Yeah, and that breaker throw really makes things rather difficult there for James Wilson, and that 180 most certainly does. First 180 of the match, and don't forget, just a couple of matches ago, we were talking about record breaking. Jim Long and Sam Spivey.
100.
7 maximums between them. The record being 9 in a match.
Well, I make that 25 maximums for the night as well. For the players as a collective, which is an impressive total when you think it's a
41.
short format games, and this is only game number 8. That That means we're getting 3 a match on average.
80.
And when things are not going well, things like that hurt more. They stand out more, and you start to pinpoint them, and you go, "Oh, that dart there cost me that," and you break it down. And ultimately, now Jim Long's got a bit of a
100.
cushion. He had the advantage anyway. He had 3 darts. He's now got 4.
Yeah, it just kind of reinforces that negativity that you are feeling when you are trailing in a match.
34.
It's kind of a bit like, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why right now?
$100.
Yeah, important last start there for Jim Long. Leaves him on a potential 2-dart checkout.
43. Jim Newcar 80.
Opts that route because he does have time. He knows even if he misses,
Game shown the
he'll
third
be
leg,
back, but he
Jim
doesn't
Long.
miss, and it's 3-0 to Jim Long.
Fourth leg, James to throw first. Game on.
Real focus there, real confidence in Jim Long.
140. $140.
One thing we know about James Wilson is he will still feel he can turn this one around. He won't look at this and see this as Mount Everest. He will look at this as a achievable challenge.
Essentially, although the scoreline is 3-0, it is just that 1 break of throw. That's why in this short format it's so important to try and just hold on to that first leg when you do have the darts.
You never do feel comfortable when you're playing this
100.
level of darts in terms of the quality over this type of format. And the shorter the format, the more crazy the results as we are seeing around world darts right now.
65. James Newcar 121.
Well, this time it's Wilson, the first poker to finish. Yet to have a dart at a double.
Jim Newcar
If Jim can
156.
convert this 156, then that will deny James Wilson a place in the final.
James Wilson yet to have a dart at a double in this game. That is going to change here.
Game shown the fourth leg.
He
James
works it in
Wilson.
and does chalk up a leg on the board.
Fifth leg, Jim to throw
But Jim Long
first.
was on that
Game
pace again there, wasn't he? He was 56 points away from winning the match, and that would have been in that 5-visit block, which means he is still running over the 100, currently 102.53.
140.
And again, looking good here to keep on this 5-visit leg. James Wilson, you feel, is only going to get 12 darts here.
58.
And comes up without a treble. So another chance just for Jim, just to put a bit more distance, and you just really feel he's in the range, in the rhythm, and in the red.
140. $140.
But as you mentioned, James Wilson, he will keep persevering. But just it's Jim Long, he's just making it very, very difficult.
100. $59. Jim Newcar 121.
He's just
81.
trying to set up. Does in the end, and Jim Long has all the time in the world. James Wilson can out just hope he gets another shot.
He's left his favourite. He's been hitting it all
140.
week.
Jim Newcar
If
40.
he hits it one more time, he'll be in the final with a repeat with Derek Colson.
Game shot of the match, Jim Long.
Wasn't tops, but it was double 10, and it is job done for Jim Long, who comes out a 4-1 winner over James Wilson. Exceptional standard once again from the man from Canada. And he will be facing Derek Coulson in the final in just a few moments' time. And there you see the stats. 4 from 7 on the outer ring, a checkout of 80, with 103 average. And James Wilson just didn't have a reply in the end. And as I say, coming up very soon, we will have the final between Jim Long and Coulson.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where before the break, Jim Long booked his place in the final against James Wilson with a 4-1 win. It means the final is going to be a battle of two world senior stars as Derek Coulson and Jim Long go toe-to-toe. Matthew Edgar's been watching every single dart in the commentary box this evening, and he joins me here in the studio now. Well, you said that you didn't think Jim Long had that explosive power when he averaged 111. Not just did he hit that, he's also followed it up with another ton-plus average in his semi-final win against James Wilson.
So impressive, wasn't it, that from Jim Long? So consistent is what we said, but this was consistent on the next level up. He was always around that sort of 15 darter or less, forcing James Wilson to be looking at 12s if he wanted to get any level of control. He needed Jim Long to miss things, he didn't. It was absolutely brilliant from Jim Long, and when we look at how his night's going so far, it's been perfect. He's not lost a single game. He's beat Derek Coulson already tonight in the group stage. He then stepped it up again. This has been a really good showing from Jim Long. He's showing us something that we haven't seen from him before. Yes, we know he's got that in there, because when we look at his numbers and a sample over a year, of course there's going to be some good moments when you look at numbers over a whole year. But when you're looking at a condensed sample like we are here, remembering this is day 6 for Jim Long. And not only that, he's also been playing in seniors action. He's been throwing a lot of darts, but the problem he's got now is he's told us he's planning on flying back to Canada on Tuesday. It may be a very, very short-lived flight, that one, because he may be coming back the week later.
We've spoken about how well Jim Long's played, and this is definitely the best we've seen him play over the course of an evening. But I want to go one step further and compare it to other performances we've seen on a finals night here at the Modus Super Series. This has to be up there with some of the best, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And because he's had that big 111 as well, it's really going to inflate the numbers, and it's really going to swell the average as well, which is going to make it look oh so good on the graphics come the end of the night as well. But it's just the level of control that he's had and the level of composure. We said throughout the week that he's been consistent, and that's been around about the 90, sort of 88, 92 area. He's found something extra tonight. He's found a new gear. And one thing I like about watching Jim Long is the fact that he plays with a very repetition style. Repeats the flow, repeats the rhythm. Everything's the same. And with that, that's why he is so solid.
He's going to be playing Derek Coulson in the final in around about 5 minutes' time. If Jim Long has been explosive, magnificent, Coulson's been consistent, steady and assured.
I think that's how you describe him, not just tonight, but throughout his whole campaign and maybe his whole time here at the Super Series. And do you know when we said at the very start of the night that there was an excitement down there? This is like people's moments. These are two players that have played darts the majority of their lives, and platforms like this didn't exist for them before. It was you play professional darts, you get on the big stages, or you don't get an opportunity to play in the front of the cameras like this. And as the world is changing and streaming platforms, the seniors coming around and extra events that are now available for people to play in, these players are getting their moments. And Jim Long alluded to it at the start of the week that he loves being here for that. Derek Coulson, someone who's really getting his moment here at the Super Series. And I think these are two players that are going to go up there tonight, be really excited and really enjoy the moment, because there's a sizable prize pot on the line here, and obviously that golden ticket as well.
We've just seen Derek there get the better of Johnny Haynes in that first semi-final. It felt like as soon as he got his nose in front in that game, there was no relenting.
Yeah, Johnny Haynes didn't turn up at all, and we sat here before that game and I alluded to the concern I had. Johnny Haynes, a player who completely plays on feel, he would have wanted to have been on the stage a lot quicker. It was about an hour to an hour and 15, and that's not going to suit a player like Johnny, and it felt like he was a bit of a sitting duck in that situation for Derek Coulson to go out and take advantage, and he did. And the one thing is, if you would have allowed Johnny Haynes a chance to settle, this isn't just because Johnny Haynes didn't perform. Derek Coulson didn't allow him to. He controlled it from start to finish. It was a really good professional job done there by Derek Coulson.
So our final's going to get underway in a few moments' time. It's Jim Long up against Derek Coulson, a meeting Canada and Wales for our 11th spot in Champions Week in a fortnight's time. These two know each other very well. They actually played at the last Champions Week. Derek Coulson averaged above a ton on both occasions against Jim. These two know each other's game inside out. Jim also beat Derek earlier on this evening. There's plenty of personal head-to-head, and there's no secrets about these two, is there?
Right, when you do this and you had someone who beats you, and they beat you in a big game, an important game to you, something you're passionate about, like a Champions Week game, something you've worked for, and they beat you, you want to beat them in something that has an equal level of importance. It's no good. I mean, we heard the narrative spin all the time, don't we? Like, oh, there's revenge. And it's like, well, it's not revenge. They've beat someone in a Group A campaign because that's not revenge in a World Championship loss. This is that moment for Jim Long where he can revenge those defeats, because losing those games on a Champions Week, this is going to have that same magnitude, because this is a qualifying game. This is a chance to put himself in and take his opponent out, and this would be the sweet one.
And these are two proven winners as well. They both won on the Open Series last weekend, so they know what it's like to taste victory in the winners' enclosure recently. But on top of that as well, I suppose there's this meeting between a player in Jim that's playing very much at his peak, playing very much at his A game, against Derek, who's played so consistent all night long. Is this game about, if they meet in the middle, who prevails?
Well, Derek Coulson shown us yesterday when the chips was down and he needed a result, he produced 108 average. So these are two players that have turned it up at the right moments, and this is the moment. The trophy is on the stage, the prize money, they know what they are playing for, the opportunity. This is the game that you come to the Super Series for. You come here for this exact moment and the chance to get your hands on the silverware.
And both won their last qualifying week, so they're going for 2 out of 2 in terms of qualifying through. Does that change a little bit in the cycle when you know that you've won so recently on a stage?
It does a little bit, but I think in this situation they'll probably both be wary of the other, Because, yes, you're aware of your capabilities, but these are two players that are going to be so aware of each other's capabilities because they know each other inside and out, because they've been acquainted on the hockey so many times. The one thing I think we're going to get is a close game. I'd be very surprised if one person pulls away and makes this a 4-0, 4-1. I would not be surprised to see it go the distance.
Who wins it?
I think on the evidence of what we've seen so far this evening, you'd have to go with Jim Long, but I don't think anything will surprise me here.
Matt, thank you very much for now. It's time for our final. It's Jim Long against Derek Coulson for the 11th spot through to Champions Week.
They will add up no more. Johnny Haynes.
Wasn't tops, but it was double tap.
Here we go then. Time for the final. It's Derek Coulson up against Jim Long for the penultimate spot in Champions Week in a fortnight's time. Who is going to return to Portsmouth at the beginning of December? We are about to find out in the company of one final time this evening of Laura Turner and Matthew Recker.
Yeah, thank you very much, Henry. I'm very much looking forward to this match. As Matt was just discussing there with Henry, very hard to call between these pair. You would have to put it in favour of Jim Long just because of the performance we have seen from him tonight. But don't rule out Derek Coulson. We saw him produce a wonderful 108 average to get to this point earlier on in the week. And both these players, it's just a different feel. You're in the final. You are so close to the silverware. Everything you've worked towards throughout the week just comes down to this one leg. And it's which one of these two men on the stage can reach 4 legs first.
Always makes a bit of a difference as well, doesn't it, when the trophy's on the stage and you can sort of see it. You can just get that extra vibe, the extra level of importance when it's just sort of out of touching distance. Jim Long having a little look at that silverware there.
Jim to throw first.
Wanting to put his fingerprints over the trophy once again. The money match.
Yeah, as you mentioned, this is a match we have already seen tonight in our second game, and it did go the way of Jim Long, but it was tight. It was a 4-3 win for the Canadian over Derek Coulson. This definitely has the potential to have a very similar result, but
100.
In whose direction, who knows?
Well, the evidence of the performance that we've seen so far would suggest Jim Long would be the favourite going into this game. He certainly was the favourite going into the night. But you did allude to the fact you felt that Derek Coulson was a bit of value, so this is the favourite against a value play. There's Laura Turner sits with a big smile on her face.
60.
The one element of Jim Long's game I've been so impressed with.
140.
He's almost like a first dart merchant. When that first dart goes in that treble 20, because of how well he can replicate his throat, you think there is going to be another 1 or 2 in it.
140. Jim McCarr, 146.
It's like tapering the barrel as well there for Jim Long, isn't they? Which does allow him tighter grouping. Just allows it to slide down the barrel rather than bouncing off. They'll look over to the scoreboards, just trying to work out the numbers. He'll be happy when he looks at Derek Coulson's score and sees him a little bit off, but I'm not quite sure he worked it out as well as he'd have wanted. Well, certainly not the application.
60. Jim McCarr, 58.
Yeah, looking like he was going for treble 9 just so he could leave that beloved tops that we've commented on so many times, and that is the reason why he likes to leave tops.
Been such a friend for him all week.
Derek to throw first. Game on.
When you've got something like that in the locker, when you've got that go-to and it's working for you, you can feel reliant on it. You know, if the scoring phase isn't quite going for you, you know you just need the one dart at your favourite.
96.
Yeah, for me, it's very much akin to leaving the kind of 16-8 for type route when it came to doubles. You can find something that you like going for. As you say, it's an absolute dream, and you can just see the confidence in Jim Long.
81.
Jim Long is to win this. It's going to be an interview you want to stick around for at the end of the night, because I think there's going to be some interesting questions coming his way. His plane ticket is booked for Tuesday
100.
to take him back to Canada. However, next week, week 12, our final week of the series, our final week of qualification, and then week 13 is where Champions Week resides. If he is to win this game, he will need to return to play for the £25,000. If you're going home on the Tuesday, he'll probably land by Wednesday. He'll be coming back a few days later. I think he may need to revise those plans.
100.
Obviously, Derek Colson's going to have plenty to say about that. Quite an easier equation for Derek Colson, isn't he? Just jump in the car and drive to Portsmouth. Much
94.
easier.
Yeah, you do have to take your hat off to some of the players, you know, the travel that they put in. If you look at players like Damon Heta, they actually lift up their whole lives and relocate themselves to another country just so they can fulfill their
100.
darting ambitions.
Derek Carr 170.
Yet here in the UK, we moan about going half hour down the road for a game.
Yeah, I'm one of those.
Jim McCarr 161.
Much nice little home match.
$129. Derek Carr 85.
Wonderful set-up play, but it's Coulson with a chance to level us up. 85 required. May just be a dart at the ball. It was a dart at the ball, but not to be for Derek Coulson.
Game show in the second leg, Jim Long.
He's halfway there. He had a look at the trophy
Third leg,
before the
Jim to
game.
first.
He'll
Game
be
on.
getting his hands on it very soon. And that was a breaker throw of Derek Colson. Jim Long's doing it again, stealthily. Coming through this game with an average of 103.48.
180.
And there, second 180.
$134.
Look at that from Jim Long. 107.45. That means his
85.
last few games, 111 in a 4-1 over Spivey. 103.48 against Wilson. He's doing it again. He is showing gears beyond the quality we
100.
thought he had, and we thought he was a quality operator as it was.
How often do we say darts is all on the day and everything it's kind of come together and click for Jim Long?
125.
That reaction there just shows you every time he steps up to that oche, he's expecting to hit the treble 20.
He should do when he's playing like this and he's in this
81.
sort of rhythm. And a finish we've seen twice already
111.
tonight. James Wilson and Sam Spivey both hitting the 111. Could be a hat-trick. The way Jim Long's playing. Well, how ironic. He's playing so well, hitting absolutely everything, but he can't hit a big number.
Yeah, we've all been there. That little lapse of concentration when you're going for a target that is arguably
71.
far easier to hit.
And that's what it is, isn't it? It's lapse in concentration. And we see players over years, such as Kevin Painter, who takes it in parts, makes sure of the big number, and then steps back.
180. Jim McCarr 40.
Interesting option. Leaves himself 6, but perhaps that just says he doesn't feel like he will be coming back.
You wouldn't normally expect to come back with Jim Long on this sort of combination. Loves the tops, loves the tens, and he finds it last start in hand.
Jim Long.
And when you look
Well,
at that play
Derek
from
to
Derek
throw
Colson, I
first.
don't
Game
mind
on.
it because double three is probably a double that will quite suit him, being able to build with his flat lying dart. And it also gets Paul Hinks making that big call, gets the lights flashing, could cause a bit of a distraction.
95.
But Jim Long wavers not.
$96. $97.
You see Andy Davidson there. Stay around to see who does lift up the trophy.
That's our Group A
57.
winner of the week this week, Andy Davidson. Didn't quite go for him this evening, just picking up the one leg. But he stuck around to see who will be picking up the trophy. That's one of the things about the Super Series as well, isn't it? There's a bit more camaraderie.
99.
Normally you lose, you grab your jacket and you're gone.
Yeah, you definitely, when you're thrust into a room with another 4 or 5 players,
85.
you do tend to obviously have a chat and get to know the people that you're playing against.
$140.
Colson digging deep here, Jim Long a leg away, but just taking the foot off the gas very slightly. In fact, Derek Colson now averaging higher than Jim Long.
But there is a third maximum from Long, just tapping on the shoulder, reminding Derek Colson that he is there, but it's double 8.
54.
Cannot find the
Junior car
target, so
83.
potentially incoming match winning opportunity here for Long.
$16 corridor for the bullseye, for the title. Very
45.
wayward.
Daniel Carr 16.
Another chance here for Coulson,
Game
and
shot
one
of
that he
4-5,
does
Derek
take.
Coulson.
Chalks up a leg on the board.
Fifth leg Jim to throw first. Game on.
That was the Derek Colson dart, so Jim Long may have just, we suggested taking the foot off the gas a little bit there, maybe focusing on this one. One where he's got the advantage of throw and he's hammering home that advantage, kicking off with a big 140. Asking Derek Colson big questions.
55.
An early slip there from Derek Coulson could prove deadly.
Yeah, it's 80 points plus these for Jim Long.
80.
Ironic and 80. 2 trebles, the minimum requirement here for Colson.
100.
The reason it had to be the minimum requirement because 3, 4, 6, even a maximum needs no finish. So Jim Long knows he's got 9 darts here from 281.
And a perfectly timed 180 once again. That's for Jim Long in this match.
Absolutely class there from Jim Long. He said in the week his timing
100.
was so
Jim Carr,
good.
101.
Once again, evidence there with that maximum.
Now just looking to set up.
49.
Quite, but we know which way he's going to go. 12 for tops.
Yeah, there'll be no prizes for predicting that one.
60.
And he's got 6 darts now to get the job done. He's had 1 match dart at the bullseye, which has gone awry. But he will knock this on tops.
A winner of the Modus Super Series, Series 9, Week 11, Jim Long.
It has been a perfect night of action for Jim Long. He has really raised the levels here at the Super Series. He has beaten Derek Coulson twice to get his hands on that trophy. He beat him in the group stages by 4 legs to 3 and stepped it up even further in that final. He has been the star performer, an average of 111.38 in the group stages. The gentleman is going to lift the title.
And this is how he did it, with an average of 98.68, actually one of his lowest averages of the night. That was how well Jim Long played this evening. 50% on his doubles. Derek Coulson kind of playing to his numbers all night, all week long. 92 average, 1 from 4 when it came to opportunities at the double. But tonight really was Jim Long's night. He had that X factor this evening, and the Canadian is going to return to Champions Week. It's back-to-back apps for him at the red carpet occasion here in Portsmouth, and it's time to crown him the champion. He's on stage now, waiting to collect the trophy, and on stage to give him that trophy is Paul Hinks.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a fantastic night of darts you've witnessed here down at the Modus Live Lounge here in Portsmouth. I believe it's one of the best Saturday nights there's actually been down here, so you've been here and you've credited what was a fantastic evening of darts. Unfortunately, there can only be one winner, but I'd like you all to put your hands together for the Modus Super Series, Series 9, Week 11 winner. I couldn't hope to meet a better, nicer man than this chap. It's the gentleman, Jim Long!
He's done it again, hasn't he, Jim Long? His second title in as many series here at the Modus Super Series. I think me and Laura may as well go home, because I think Paul Hinks said all the words that needed to be said in that presentation. But Jim Long was getting used to that winning habit. He's winning on the Seniors Tour regularly, and now he's becoming a regular winner here at the Super Series. He's going to come and join us in the studio in a few moments' time, but not before he gets a warm handshake. Congratulations from Paul Hinks. Laura Turner, as I say, is alongside me in the studio, and from game 2 onwards, he was pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah, absolutely. Something just really clicked inside Jim Long, and he just looked so cool, calm, collected, confident as well when he was up there. He was deadly on tops, and 4 180s in that final, hit 4 in the round robin stages against Sam as well. Just outstanding throughout the evening, and it's great to see the scenes down there, everyone coming to congratulate him, and rightly so.
Sam and Andy giving their congratulations. Sam, who was beaten by Jim Long with that 111 average in the group stages. And there, the kiss from Jim and his partner. It's very much a family thing with Jim Long, him and his wife travelling from Canada to the United Kingdom. They're going to have to book another trip before too long.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Matt was saying, he's flying back on Tuesday. Obviously, there's only that one last elusive place for Champions Week that we're going to find out next week. So, yeah, kind of touch down and turn back round then, please.
I can imagine that feeling must be untouchable, unassailable, because at times this evening he was playing almost beyond an A game, almost untouchable, as I mentioned earlier on.
Yeah, absolutely. It happens, and I think when it happens, it's just a fantastic feeling. You feel invincible, like you're not going to miss. Everything that you touch is just, everything's going right, and it all timed perfectly for Jim tonight.
And he sprinted up to the studio. Jim Long has joined myself and Laura Turner up here in the studio. Jim, many, many congratulations. We are live. We are live.
It was nice to meet Laura Turner. I'm a dart fan.
It's nice to meet you too, Jim.
I watch all the darts, and it's really great to meet her.
Laura is an absolute legend, as are you, Jim. Tonight is your night again, and goodness me, at times, some of the numbers and some of the levels you got into, that must have felt like your absolute peak.
Yeah, I didn't even know, actually, and when I got in the back room, they're like, oh, you shot 111? I was like, seriously? I had no idea. I just felt good, and the game was good, and it was close. I felt like it was close, because actually, he had a 10 to start. I thought he was going to do a 9-darter to start. So it was very close, very good games. And it was a bit of a surprise, but it was good. It's a lot of fun.
For us mere mortals, what is that feeling like?
Like just playing good and not thinking about it. Yeah, it's a weird feeling because you just play and you don't really care if you win or lose. You just want to play well, and if you do lose, you feel happy that you at least played well.
And was that the springboard for the rest of the night? Because we saw you there get the better of Derek Coulson in the final. After that win against Sam Spy, you had that backup performance in the semi-finals. Was that kind of the moment, that second game against Sam, that really was the launch pad for the rest of the evening?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, first game against Derek is a lot of like tension there, because Derek and I have a bit of a history, and I know he can he blasted his way through the last round to get to this night with 108 average. So it was a lot of tension there. But the old guys were getting it done in the back room, and we were having some laughs and some stuff. And I knew Sam was amazing. Sam has been amazing through the last 2 days, and so I knew that I had a lot of work to do there, and I just wanted to play well. And I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know that it's going to be 103. It just, or whatever, it just happens, and you just play, and that's it. And you just embrace the opportunity to play this guy. That's it.
It's interesting because all the Final Four are eligible to play on the World Seniors Tour this evening, and I'm going to say the word senior. Please apologise for saying that word.
Say it again if you'd like.
I'm going to say it one more time. I'm going to say the word senior. I'm going to say the word senior mindset, because it felt like in that backroom there is that air of they want to enjoy it, but also there's that experience there as when it gets on the hockey, what to do and how to get a job done.
Yeah, and I don't think you can actually underestimate how much experience, is important. We saw it from Sam. He came out, he looked really edgy. He's here on debut. I don't know about yourself, but did you find the fact that you've been here before, you've lifted that trophy, does that all kind of help when you come back?
Yeah, I don't know. I've had good runs every time I've been here to the top four. I lost to Barry Vanderpeer, and then I lost in the finals the next time. It's just, for me, it's just play, and I'll take what I can get, and I just want to do my best. I feel for Sam, honestly, he was amazing in the C group. He was 9-1, and every average he had was in the 90s, and I even had people in North America saying, "Oh, you got to watch out for this Sam guy," and because they knew he was a great player. So I don't know if he was edgy tonight. It seemed very relaxed in the back room, all of us. You'd have to ask Sam if he was edgy, but I thought he played well. I mean,
he averaged 99 against you.
Not only that, but he almost shot a 9-darter in the first leg. So I don't know that he was nervous. I think just things didn't work out for him. That's it.
You definitely did your job and did your business. And you're back at Champions Week once again. Last time you were here, is it fair to say it didn't quite pan out as expected?
Well, I had to give up my Group A spot because I was playing a CDC spot. And it worked out for me there because now I'm playing in the World Championships. And that really hurt me. Not just it was mostly mentality-wise, because I wanted to hang out with those guys in the Group A and spend 3 days just battling it out, and I didn't get to, and so that bothered me a little bit. And then I went right down to C group from that. So it didn't work out the way I wanted. I had Derek Coulson shoot 109 on me, and then I had Paul Hogan shoot 109 on me. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm not winning those legs. That's it. Those matches. That's it. And that took me out of it. So.
And it's quite a big thing, isn't it? Because I've had a wonderful experience playing here on a Women's Week, and that camaraderie that you get in the back room, that's just, it can really make the week and spur, you kind of spur on the other players as well.
Oh, it's a true thing. We're actually fist bumping each other when they come off the stage, and I don't think anybody was had any more worse luck than Chaz Barstow this week, because he was electric, and I think everybody who had their best week or their best match played their best match against Chaz. He was amazing, and he didn't get through. So it's funny the way the game goes.
It is a funny old game, but one thing you'll like to see is this next graphic that we're about to show, because this is the list of weekly winners. You may see an asterisk next to the name of John Henderson. He has withdrawn from Champions Week. The next best reserve on the list will make it in, and at the moment it is Andy Bolton who holds the highest running average. Also, we haven't factored in tonight yet, but we will work that out, of course, in due course. And that's not a bad list of names for yourself to join. There's a couple of former series champions in there. You got Tom Sykes, who made it through to a series final before. Looking forward to pitting your wits against them guys?
I can't wait. I have to find out what group I'm in to see if I'm going home, because I'm supposed to go home on Tuesday. And I have to fly back on the 11th of December for the World Championships. So really, to be honest, I don't know what I'm going to do. So it's stressful a little bit. That's probably that's more stressful than me playing, is I don't know when I'm flying home, because I'm supposed to go home on Tuesday.
What would be your preference in terms of a group? Would you prefer to play the full week, stay in England for a while?
Yeah. I want to play everybody. I want to play the full week, and I want to get my money's worth, I guess, if you'd call it.
We'll just have another chat with you in a second. Me and Laura are going to round up everything else that's happened this evening. First of all, have a few words about Derek Coulson, who played superbly all week long, got through to another final here. Every time we see him here, he seems to perform.
Yeah, he's another one that just, knows how to work it up there on the Modus Super Series stage, and, came so close. But I think it was just kind of the dominance of Jim throughout today's proceedings, especially, that just didn't let anyone have that extra look in, that extra opportunity. We were talking about timing, and everything timed perfectly for Jim. And yeah, Derek, round of applause, makes the final, but just not quite enough.
Well, honestly, I played Derek many times in the seniors as well as here, and we've never had a bad game. He's amazing.
He's an excellent player. He may well be on the reserve list. We obviously will divvy up the averages in due course. These are the results, though, from tonight here at the Super Series. The semi-finals saw Jim get the better of James Wilson 4-1, and Derek Coulson beat Johnny Haynes by 4 legs to 1. To be honest, even Andy Davidson, who won just a solitary leg tonight, Laura, no one underperformed at all, did they?
No, we were really treated, weren't we? Let's be honest. Everyone played exceptional. I think Johnny Haynes, when he came out of the traps, he was absolutely, it was a blistering start, and perhaps just that break between the round robin stages, obviously a bit of a wait to get to that semi-final, just couldn't quite keep that level, keep the motivation going. So yeah, just kind of fell at that semi-final hurdle. But yeah, it's been exceptional. And like I say, there's so many positives, the likes of Davidson, for Sam, that they can take away from this experience, because everyone has really performed.
Just finally, Jim, Champions Week takes place in December. Now, there's one thing that you want to do whilst you're in Portsmouth, and that's go to Fratton Park.
But they're never home when I'm here.
Well, if you're here on the Saturday, Portsmouth play at 3 o'clock.
Which Saturday? This Saturday?
Saturday the 7th. So if you get through to the Champions Night, Portsmouth play on that particular Saturday.
Okay. I'll bring some warm clothes then, because I heard it's quite cold down there.
It's a bit nippy and it's a bit loud down there.
And if I got to play darts, hopefully that Saturday night, I'm going to need some warm clothes.
Hey, you could have the perfect night, an afternoon down at Fratton Park. You could be lifting the trophy on Saturday evening.
You know what? That sounds like a real nice night right there.
Well, Jim, tonight's been a very good night for you. Many, many congratulations. We shall see you in Champions Week in a few weeks' time. Laura, final word goes to you this evening on what has been a fantastic night here at the Super Series.
Yeah, it really has. As I say, I think everyone saved their best till the last night, and we were definitely treated, and hopefully we get more of it next week, and then we see everyone back at Champions Week. It's a really exciting couple of weeks coming up.
Thank you both for your company. Many congratulations, Jim. Laura, thank you so much for this evening. Thank you for your company as well. We're back on Monday morning from 9:30 for the final week of qualification here at the Super Series. Jim Long, I'm sure, will be watching on, seeing who prevails through. And it's a week that good that we didn't even need one promo when you can have 5. We'll see you soon. Bye from us.
Oh my God, it's the baby boy!
And then throwing a 177.
We'll be up first, treble 20.
He's on a potential 9-darter.
Confirming the second.
Come on, Jared.
And to me on double 12.
Yes, you beauty!
Yes. I tell you what, he's pretty good, ain't he?
He will take it out. He has. It's absolutely brilliant from the Owl. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
They don't get bigger than the fish, and Mr. P has turned his fortunes around.
Another one of those. For the ball. He's gone for it and he's hit it as well. A fantastic 164 there from Ted Everts.